But it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
And Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
She didn't admit to it. She didn't admit to anything close to that. Nothing close to that. And you should know that.
That was like 3 or 4 times.
No, she didn't.
That's not true.
She asked a question.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
We have the 8 letters. We've seen them. We've read them. We are using them. The genie cannot be put back in the bottle.
Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the pond. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, exposing him on. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, go. We can live in the shine, but then I'm not talking about it, ain't that so? Look at the kids in the world. No can do it, shall I? No do it, shall I? We better hit that. Yeah, we hit that, hit that. Better than what in the boats. I break down true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. This year. I break down true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to LTL True Crime. We are live here on this Thursday night, March 7, 2024. And I am super excited for this guest. Sean and I have been trying to line a stream up for about 2 months. And just timing, he got sick for a little while and just doing a lot of other shows. But now our worlds have collided. And I'm super happy to have Sean here, be a guest here on LTL. I think this is going to be a very informative stream, and I'm really looking forward to it. And we have a presentation for everybody tonight, so keep everybody visually stimulated, and I think that's what we need to do in this stream. So we're going to have a lot of fun here and try to get through this. I just want to set a little bit of ground rules for everybody. As far as the show goes, we're just going to let it flow. Maybe we take some questions at the end, but I'm also going to say this as well, too. I understand that Turtle Boy is going to go live at 9 p.m. I'm going to try to do my best, but I have Sean here, and I want to give the respect to him to get through this presentation, and I will do my best to get through and try to end at 9 o'clock. If I don't, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to go on with the show. I have Sean here, so I just want to give the respect to Sean as well. Also, I want to let everybody know this. I just signed a lease today on LTL Studios. So that will be happening. That will take, I will have the space on April 1st. I'm super excited to get into my own module studio where I can actually have live guests come in and sit and do it the right way instead of doing this over StreamYard all the time. So we're elevating the channel. We're going to start building out a beautiful studio and really make this happen. So I'll keep everybody in touch with that as the progression goes along, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But let's not have Sean wait too much longer. I'm going to bring Sean in. Sean, how are you? Good to see you. And I'm glad that our worlds finally collided.
Brian, thank you for having me on. So it's actually an honor and a pleasure. And to be honest with you, I missed this seat. I like being on this end. You can do all the work. I can just sit back and relax. It's not easy what you guys do. I'm telling you, I learned. I said, what the hell am I getting myself into? I'm back.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
Oh,
you know, I got 3 screens in front of me that I'm watching. So it is a lot of work. But listen, I'm really happy that our worlds finally collided to get you over here in LTL. I know you and I did a little bit of a spot on Melanie Little's channel, and I have to tell you, thank you so much for allowing me to come on and sit on that panel kind of firsthand in the peanut gallery. It was an honor to be on stage with both of you and just kind of sit back and take in the ambiance.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Listen, I mean, it's all about sharing the love. It's spreading the word. And Melanie's great. All you content creators, I got to tell you, I tip my hat off to you people because, you know, you do such a great job. And I'm telling you, you guys got full-time jobs. I don't have any of the bells or whistles yet, but I can tell you right now, what I have, the minimum I have, it's a chore. It's a full-time job. But anyways,
it's a lot. So you've been making the rounds lately, Sean. Everybody knows about you. Sean from the Gulf. You know, you're becoming a big star here on YouTube, and we know that you've been on Twitter for, you know, a long time here. Let me bring up my presentation. We'll go through this a little bit. Could you do this for us? Go through your background. Tell us a little bit about just people that might not know you, just some of your background.
Yeah, I mean, for your audience, I know you got over 17,000. That's amazing, man. That's like I said, it's amazing. So I'm originally from Boston, Dorchester, raised Mattapan for a stint, and moved to Canton, Mass, my freshman year of high school. I was enrolled at CM, Catholic Memorial, for a brief time. My parents sold the house, and they couldn't swing the mortgage of the new house in Canton. And they said, Sean, you're going to Canton High. And it was great. I spent 4 years there. Went to Westfield State University. And the first semester of my senior year, I went down to Washington, D.C. because I had an opportunity early to get on the U.S. Capitol Police Department, because my next door neighbor in Canton was a sergeant. And I got to tell you, you know, I hate to say this, but it's all about who you know. I'll tell you. Look at this. It's all about, I forgot I had the STFU on it. I don't want to. Sorry about that.
I can tell you.
It's all about who you know. But anyways, so I stayed there for 2.5 years. Listen, training. I went to the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. I was with all the federal. Listen, I'm a kid. I'm 21 years old. Then I went to the Arlington County Police Department, right across the bridge from D.C., Roslyn, right into Arlington County. And I was like, quote unquote, a real cop. I was a beat cop, working midnights, doing the deal, doing the whole thing, running down calls, boom. Then I was promoted to a crime scene investigator. And that's why I bring a unique perspective to this Karen Reed case, because like anything I've ever done in my life, and my wife is a testament. She says, Sean, Jesus, you go full. I mean, if it's not golf, not the guitars, this, that, you know. She goes, what about me? I said, Sue, we got 17 and a half years. March 17th is one of our weddings. We're going to be celebrating here pretty soon.
Oh, and hey, my birthday's on March 17th.
Wow, how about that? And then 8808, we did the infinity wedding because we did a small wedding because I was going to Caracas, Venezuela, and then it never happened. But anyway, so I spent 5.5 years with Arlington County, and I got hired by DEA, right? Now, the funny thing is I didn't know anyone at DEA. I got rejected 3 times. I guess I wasn't, being a white Irish Catholic wasn't what they were looking for. But anyways, it all worked out. And I spent 28 years as a DEA agent, and I worked every facet. I was a rookie agent. I worked undercover, surveillance, everything you can think of, knocking down doors, filling out search warrants, going to court. I mean, everything you can think of. And then and that was in Springfield, Massachusetts. They actually sent me home. I was away for like almost 10 years almost. And then I went back to Springfield, where I went to Westfield State. It was like going home for me. I had all my buddies, they came by. And then I transferred to Houston, Texas. I went to Lima, Peru. I worked in the jungles of Peru. That's right. Chasing the Peruvian monsters. There you go. El Detective de Juancito. Look at this guy with the mustache. Wow. Anyways, he's right. Chasing the Peruvian monsters. Absolutely. Yep. But that was a great experience because like I was on the other side buying it. I got to see how it was processed and made. And I got to tell you, if people realized what they do to produce those cocaine with the gasoline and the acid, no one has a recipe. And like I said, that top one on the right, that was my first big seizure here. Believe it or not, Naples, Florida. That's a 250 kilo seizure we had in Naples. All right. So I spent, I stayed in Peru for 7.5 years. I got promoted to Naples. So that was a takedown right there. Mm-hmm. And one of my assignments, but in Peru, I was assigned to the Amazon River up in Iquitos, Peru. And we did river boardings. I was a part of that riverine, that boat you just had up there. That was one of our boats right in the middle of that. That's actually me. That's actually me driving that boat. Wow. It was the Amazon River. We would go from Peru up to the Colombian-Brazilian border, Tabatinga, Colombia, and Tabatinga, Brazil, and Leticia, Colombia. And it was like the little tri-area, and we would take the El Estrecho River, and that's where we identified that the FARC, way back then, the FARC was getting into the trade. And then the Mexicans came in. Mm-hmm. Peru never had Mexican restaurants. And that's where we've realized that the Colombians said, hey, that's it. We're done smuggling. We're going to give it to the best smugglers in the world. We're going to give it to the Mexicans. And that's how it's happened. So the bottom right, that's right there. That's 4,000 kilograms of cocaine. Wow. That we tracked leaving Peru, and we took it down the high seas. So think about it like this. It was called the El Grichi, right? That was the boat. And it met the mother lode up by the Galapagos Islands. Okay. And then we tracked it. We tracked it all the way, and the Coast Guard took it down, and that's literally in San Diego. And that's one of my partners right there, Rob. And then the plane, that was our jungle plane. We would fly these King Airs. And I got to tell you, I was never a great flyer at all. And this plane, I was a white knuckle flyer. But then every Monday we took off, and 2 weeks later, every Friday we'd come back. And before you know it, but the problem was these wings on those planes, the Andes are 21,000 feet high. Oh, yeah. This plane only got up to like 23,000. And I'm saying, holy, I said, Jesus Christ, we go down, it's over with. And then the bottom right. So I stayed in Naples, went to Fort Myers because we had some change. Then I got promoted to go to Caracas, Venezuela. But then Hugo Chavez said, no más la DEA, no más la DEA. And he wouldn't give me a friggin' diplomatic passport to get in. So then I waited, and then they sent me to Bogota. That picture right there is Bogota. And I had that job in Bogota. I was a supervisor of the money laundering group in Bogota. And that's just a little seizure that we took down. And I take that back. That's our commission funds. So we would take $1 million pickup. We'd take 12% off, right? So that's $120,000. That went to us. That went to our planes, our hotels, whatever expenses. And we never charged the U.S. government, not a penny. But the problem is you got to keep those books ready, because at any given time, if that 120 ended up at 119, now we got a problem. But anyways, so I stayed in Bogota to 2011, and I was going to be promoted to go to Washington, D.C. And I told my wife, Suzanne, I said, Sue, listen, here's the bottom line. It's over with. I've been in this game since I was 21. I was 53 years old. I said, if we go to DC, we have to move all the way up there. And when I retire, because I can only stay there till 57. So 4 more years, we're going to have to pay to have our move back to Naples because we had our homes here. So with that said, she said, let's pull the plug. We had a little party, a despedida in Colombia. We did all the dancing and the whole thing. And I retired back here in Naples, Florida. And here I am.
Here you are.
Yeah.
So let me, before we transition into Karen Reed,
Sure.
Tell me your biggest, all right, two questions. What was the one thing that you absolutely loved about the job, and what was your biggest seizure of all time?
Well, as a law enforcement person, I mean, I had a lot of great experiences, right? Mm-hmm. I have glimpses of times where the job really affected me. I got shot at. I never killed anyone, thank God. I pulled my gun a million times, but had the presence of mind. Well, I mean, listen, I could give you stories, but mm-hmm. One of the most memorable cases I had, not a case, it was in Peru, and it's a long story, but we rescued this guy and his family. He was literally shot down out of the air by our own people. Wow. And it was a missionary family, Jim Bowers, right? And the Peruvians thought that he was smuggling cocaine, right? Well, mm-hmm. we knew that cocaine does not come into Peru because Peru was the mecca of sending. Anyways, it was a nightmare. I won we were nominated, my partner and I, for the DEA Administrators Award. It was beautiful. So that's the thing. It wasn't about me kicking in doors or making the biggest seizure. But one of the biggest seizures I ever had was, you're gonna love this. This is about this job. We arrested a guy who was a major player. He was sitting in Miami. So I went up to Miami with another agent and we interviewed him. He said, listen, I will cooperate completely. He said, but please, I just leave my family alone. Yeah. I said, what do we get for that? He says, I'll give you all my money. And he said, as a matter of fact, when you go back to Bogota, now this is funny. I live right in any Colombians here. I lived in La Zona Rosa, one of the nicest areas in Bogota. He said, up on 7th Street, off of 10th Calle 10, right? There'll be a van at 3:00 in the morning. The keys will be on the front tire. You will not believe this. So we came back. We set up 3:00 in the morning. The van's there. Guy puts the keys. $227 million in the van. U.S. cash. Now, in Bogota, in Colombia, they work on pesos, Colombian pesos. And this is the thing. I said, what the hell? So that was huge. $227 million for just saying, okay, we'll leave your family alone. That was pretty wild. But, there's a lot of things, but that's just.
Well, thank you for your service. I mean, I know that it's not easy work, and thank you for protecting us. We appreciate it.
All right, Sean. Like I said the other night, we're the ones that run to the bullets. The other people run away from the bullets. That's what we do. We're trained that way.
So yes, absolutely. So we're here to talk about the Karen Reed case, and the big question I have for you that I've never really heard, but what got you so interested and so involved in this case? Doing kind of your sideline, investigating and really getting the truth out there so people can understand, what's going on.
The major, okay, so everyone knows the story. I mean, I think everybody's story is the same. I think everyone knew some part about the poor girl that ran over her Boston cop friend, right? A boyfriend, right? And then all of a sudden it goes in your heads, oh my God, it's a tragedy. And next thing, we got a turtle guy, a turtle boy giving up all this stuff, right? That's the story. But what got me interested was the lack of respect they had for John O'Keefe. Mm-hmm. That, like I said, was to me, because I remember going to so many funerals in my career from 1979 to 2011. That's a lot of years. And we would do 2 or 3 a year, right? And it's crushing. It's very crushing. So, and the fact that they didn't have all hands on deck that morning, I don't give a shit if it was a tsunami. I don't give a shit if it was a friggin' whatever.
Right.
It was imperative that there was all hands on deck. All hands on deck. I don't give a shit where they were sleeping, they were calling in sick. That chief of police showed zero leadership. Zero leadership. You should have called in Stoughton, Milton, Norwood, Sharon, wherever, all the surrounding, like a community call out, because you had a Boston cop dead.
Yeah.
And no one, they didn't even escort the ambulance. They didn't put anyone in the bus. So that was really the part that when you say that's what really got me interested. And then what the second part, which is almost is what I found out, is how badly they have framed that young woman, Karen Reed.
Yeah.
That's what, so it's twofold. It's twofold. So that's what I'm saying.
So what I'd like to do for everybody here, and believe me, I understand probably 90% of the live audience here tonight, 95% of the live audience tonight know what we're talking about. But I want to go through a couple things just for people that might be coming into the stream and saying, you know, what the hell is going on with this case? I have a couple of videos here that I want to show up of just some proper, I want to show the actual scene that we saw first on the news. So I'd love to play that first. And then another video that just happened 6 days ago out in Pennsylvania. This poor Amish mother was brutally murdered, pregnant. Thank God they have a suspect in custody now. But I want to compare the two scenes and just give a compare and contrast here to everybody, just to see what's going on. So let me pull up the original video that we saw. Was really the first report, and I can already tell you, I see a million things wrong here, Sean.
Outside a home in Canton is that of a Boston police officer. Officer John O'Keefe, who was off duty, was found.
So I'm going to pause it here.
Right.
I got to make a comment. I'm trying not to make a joke about this, but first thing that I see, no crime scene tape. But the funny thing about it is if you look down in the corner to my left, the graphic, guess what they have? Crime scene tape. It's just like they have it in their graphic, but they don't even have it here at the crime scene.
Oh yeah, right there. Oh yeah, down the bottom.
Yeah, this little graphic, right. Almost like
it's crazy.
Where's the crime scene tape?
I guarantee any crime scene that you see on live TV will always have a crime scene back. That doesn't look that bad right there, right? There's no blowing wind. Okay, so you have snow, big deal.
Right.
Put the crime scene on. Protect the perimeter. But the problem is here, Brian, by that time it was too late. There was hours that passed. 13 hours had passed. It was too late. That scene was unprotected.
Already compromised.
And contaminated. People walking through, who knows?
Yeah, you can see it here. People walking through here.
Yeah, look at this guy with the grocery bag.
It's unbelievable.
Come on. He's going to 32 Fairview. How do I know that? Because I know that. How you like that? I know that.
Look at this, Sean. Look, I mean, come on.
I know. I mean, the problem is, and like I said, I mean, they're going to have, I like the people know that have followed me. I see some names that I always see. Thank God they're always around. I got to give a lot of credit to the people in the audience here. You make all the rounds, and your commitment to this case does not go unnoticed. Okay. I appreciate it. I know Brian does. So I know in my heart, it will be a suicide mission if they bring this case to trial. I don't see it going to trial. That's one of my predictions. If it does, that right there is going to be problematic. I mean, I know you did a video about crime scene 101 stuff, right? Yep. That video is like the Bible, right? Yeah. You listen, where's the guy taking the names down who entered the crime scene? There is nothing identified about that picture. Where is the crime scene? You know, where is it? I mean, what is it?
That's what I mean. And go ahead, Sean.
No, I'm just saying you got two guys and no one's taking any notes. No one's doing a thing. But here's the kicker.
all the lights off in the house. No one's not even seen anybody that looks like they've gone up and knocked on the front door.
Yeah.
No one's come out.
Look at the cars in the driveway. Not even
houses
not,
with snow.
So where are the other? Where are the people at?
Yeah.
We know they're not in the house, right? We know cars haven't been. So they're out of the house somewhere. So getting the story straight.
So I want to do this. I just want to show really quick this crime scene, and look at this. I mean, I haven't even opened the video yet. And look where we're at. Look, I just want everybody to watch this. Look, this is what a crime scene tape off looks like, and you're gonna see.
See the direction.
Yep.
No, you see the direction. The guy's saying you come in this way because what you don't want to do. You don't want to contaminate. So you want to have a direction, like a pathway.
Look at it.
Say, okay.
Look at they have the whole perimeter. Look at
the whole thing is controlled. It's controlled. No one's getting in or out. That's the whole idea. Right?
That's great. The whole farm is taped off.
Yeah.
Wow,
So now they're getting
doing work, Sean. Look, investigating work.
Right. Yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, listen. I mean, they're going to give every excuse in the world. Oh, it was a snowstorm. There was a dead cop. Right.
Yeah.
Did you think about John O'Keefe? No, you didn't.
Please, do not cross. Look at the tape. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You had.
Look at how the people are. They're not discussing this inside. It's outside.
Yes.
That's how you do it.
And you go back.
You limit the people. You limit the people that enter, and when they do enter, right, they're identified.
Yeah, you got officers here with booties on. You have
booties. They got the booties.
They have a what's that scanner they use? The digital scanner, the 360 scanner. I forget.
Scanner or the photo of the.
Oh, it might be a photo here. I thought.
Yeah,
that was
I know I know what you're talking about. I know.
This is a 360-degree
scanner.
Scanner.
Yeah, there you go. El Detective, they won. I love that. El Detective, they won.
We'll play a little bit more here.
But look Farrell, that's great. Look at that. He's contributing. I love it.
You might get another shot of the scene here. Yeah, here we go. Taped off.
Yeah, I mean, this is pro stuff. See, and see how the guys got their hands here. They listen. You don't want to touch anything, and he's not going in, right? And if he does go in, he's going to go in a way that least likely traveled, right? You want to take. See, he's directing.
Giving direction.
See the guy right there. Go over that way, because we want to take the path of least traveled, right? Because you don't want to disturb anything. You don't want to contaminate. See, look at that. See, beautiful. That's how it's done. I'm telling you.
Still, look at the whole farm is taped off, Sean.
Yeah,
none of this at Fairview. Nothing.
No.
So I just wanted to kind of compare and contrast that a little bit, have you talk a little bit about it. So now we go on to Karen's statement about John's blood. I think it was back in May on those courtroom steps. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to play a little bit of a video here so we can all understand what I'm talking about, but it actually in the intro of my podcast tonight. So let's play that really quick. And you can hear Karen said, I had this blood all over me and I want to talk about this a little bit.
Said it feels we're the only ones fighting for the truth of what happened to John O'Keefe. And me and my family and my attorneys and my team have marshaled every resource to get to the truth. It just feels like no one else wants it.
And Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
And no, she didn't do it. No, she didn't do it. This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it.
I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 in the morning. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life.
Why'd you admit to it?
I was covered in his blood.
Real quick, I just want to note something.
Yeah.
Right. A little parallel.
Yep.
If you look at that scene, right, that scene on the steps, and you look at Nettie's face, the concern. You look at Jackson, the concern. You look at Liza Little, the concern. Right. It's critical. This is very early in, right? And then you look at Karen, her last hearing. Do you see the concern? Everyone's laughing. Everyone's nice and calm and quiet and confident. Do you see the difference? That's, That's how you pick up on how things are going. Very good for them right now. Back then,
go ahead, John.
tedious. I'm sorry. Back then, it was tedious. It was a level of concern. You could see the anguish. You could see the look on Davey and Eddie's face. You could see the concern. There's Linda. Great point. Like night and day. That's true. You're right, Linda. Linda's a very good friend of me and my family.
Oh,
great
nice.
Shout out to Linda.
Good to have you here. Good to have you here.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the statement that this always had me fascinated is when Karen said, "I had his blood all over me." So the narrative by the Commonwealth is that John O'Keefe was dead by 12:30 a.m. that night and stayed roughly 6 hours out in the cold.
Right.
Yeah, until Karen came back upon him, started CPR, and then the whole thing with 911 being called. So to me, I look at it, and I might be wrong here, and I'm not a medical examiner or a doctor, but when I look at it as a layman, I say, okay, body's out in the cold, blood would probably be crystallized or frozen by then. How could someone have blood all over them if the body has been outside for 5 to 6 hours in that temperature? So to me, it made no sense, because you would have to be, I don't know how long it would take. I would say within an hour or two to be out there on that front lawn to have blood all over you. I mean,
sure. So you think the reports were the temperature that night at that particular hour, 12:30, 1 o'clock, between 12 and 15 degrees. That's friggin' cold. That's serious cold. All right.
Yeah.
So blood coagulates. Okay. In 100-degree weather, you leave. Like I got a cut. Look at the cut. Right. I have a fan above me. I was putting this shirt on. I hit the thing. It hit my hand. Right. But the blood coagulated.
Right.
It's 75 degrees here. So imagine if I was outside in 12-degree weather. Right. So that's incredible how Karen describes, she describes it, and she says, I had blood. That blood would have been frozen, crystallized, coagulated, whatever the hell you want to say. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the hours that a body would be out there. That's what I'm saying. There's so many holes. And by the grace of God, we're smart enough, or they're dumb enough to have brought this. I got to watch my wife. Don't swear anymore. To bring this horrendous case to the Commonwealth to bamboozle us. That's what they're doing.
All right, we'll move on here. So again, all right. Now here's the big one.
Oh,
the tail light.
That's my baby.
This is your baby.
Brian, I looked at that light for months. I have nightmares about that thing. But let me you keep that thing right there. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to tell you right now, all you people look here, right? When Karen backed up, okay, to John's car, do you see the white glass? That's the backup. That's the backup light and the emergency flashes. When she put the thing on the emergency flash, that thing would illuminate beep, beep. That's the part that got cracked. That's the part that Jen, Kerry, and even Karen said that got cracked. All right. Now, all right, we all know, right, that put that little blue thing all over to the right, Brian, over to the right and down below. All that area right there at the end of the night is gone. All the red in the middle, Brian, put it in the middle over here. All there. That's history. It's gone. It's gone. And I just want you to, if Brian has it, when at 5:08, and you people have seen my things, right? Because that's my baby that we'll probably never use. But at 5:08, that part of that light is completely intact. Completely. Look at that. That's beautiful. Look at that.
Oh, I was out to dinner the other night with someone that I've been with and dating, and we were out to dinner. And it was funny. We were walking back to my car, and she said, "Holy shit! Look at that right there. There's a Lexus LX70.
Look at that.
She said, why don't you stand in front of it? We'll take a picture, and you can talk about it on the podcast."
This
photo, just in the Justice group, has had over 1,000. I think it's close to 1,000 likes on it. I've gotten a lot of likes on it on my Facebook page, and then it's been viral on Twitter with all the Twitter rats. So they're coming at me. But the point of what I wanted to show here was I'm 6 foot, about 213, 215 pounds.
I don't. You don't weigh that. You don't weigh that much, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
No, man, you hide it well. You must be all muscle, man. Holy shit.
John, from what I understand, is about an inch taller than me and about maybe 5 or 10 pounds heavier than me. I wanted to show, and you're going to see this too, I drew some lines. This is where if Karen was to back up and hit John, like the Commonwealth is saying,
right.
To me, this is where we would get his injuries. We know from what we know so far, no leg injuries, and it's all upper body. How does that explain where the tail light is in conjunction across my body with the head injuries? I don't know, Sean, it doesn't line up.
No, of course it doesn't. Nothing in this case lines up. Nothing. It's crazy. It really is. Nothing does. Because all his injuries are the neck and above. Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
I'm just showing some relevance. I have a young lady here that was doing a demonstration. You can see where it would be on her body. It's all upper body, Sean. It would have hit upper body.
Now, where her hand is, where her hand, that yellow, that part of that taillight, ironically, is the part of the piece that's on the snowbank. That juts out 5 inches, right? That juts out 5. We measured it. It juts out 5 inches, and it stands about 50 some odd inches off the ground. I forget what it was. See that right there on the right? That's how it juts out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show that. And people have to understand that these SUV taillights, the factory ones, I'm not talking about replacements, factory, these are thick and they're tough. And I was going to go to the length of actually getting one and to see what it would take to actually crack this or destroy it. Destroyed in the way that they said that they found the taillight, but we know it was only cracked because Karen backed up into John's car that night.
This is what the Lexus dealership head mechanic said. He said, Sean, we're going to take this one step further. He said, not only is that part thick, there's an inner layer of glass also, right, as a protection. Wow. That's even that's how fortified that tail light is. There's literally 2 layers, an outside shell and an inside shell. They're gonna listen, like I said, this will not go to trial, but if it does, how are they going to explain how did 2 layers of tail light get cracked? There you go. See, so basically that's perfect. Oh man, Brian, this is you're making my night. I lived this. See, you're not going to believe it. You could actually see the line. See that line? That's part of the inner shell. That's inside the outer shell. All right. And then on the real picture that floated around, right, above these 2 LEDs, below, you see those 2 white strips, look like Band-Aids or whatever. Okay, those are the LED strips, right?
Yep.
At the Canton PD garage, they're gone, right? There was no, when Proctor had the car, after he did his little magic, those things are gone. That car could never light up like it did at 508. And above that top white thing, you will see a tool impression, right? Where, unfortunately, so here it is, right there, right there. Okay, so the white part, this is what was said. When these taillights get hit, right? And if it's not like a real bad, then they're not going 100 miles an hour and hit a deer, right? It will explode. But when they get hit, like a little fender bender, these lights are made so that they go in, right? So in other words, where the brake light was hit on John's Traverse, that's why they couldn't find any taillight at the scene, at the scene, because the little pieces went in. Okay, think about this. Now, they know that the Canton PD found nothing at the scene. No matter how much they want to say whose scene it was, who wasn't, the bottom line is they knew that they need to get evidence to link that car and Karen to the scene. So my opinion is that they try to get those pieces out because they probably figured, well, the tow truck driver didn't see any damage because of the snowstorm, and the pieces are inside. They knew that the outside was intact. There you go. There's another one.
Yeah.
They knew the outside was intact, right? they're not stupid because they had another witness down there, right? Which it makes no sense to me. But the bottom line is, when they got back, they tried to get those pieces out, and guess what happened? It was an oh shit. It was an oh shit moment. You know, oh shit. Holy, what are we gonna do now? The fucking whole thing busted out. Now they got pieces everywhere. 37, 39 pieces. What are we gonna do about it? That's what happened.
So what we're going to do here is I have some photos just to show everybody. So if you're not familiar with what's going on, and we can describe this.
Right.
And then I actually have the video that I enhanced, and I want to show everybody where Karen made contact with John's SUV that night that actually cracked her taillight before she went back to 34 Fairview at 5:08 in the morning. So if you look to the left side, my left, the way I'm looking at left side of the scene, Karen Reed leaving John's residence at 5:08 a.m. on 1/29/22. You can see the taillight fully intact. Okay.
Right. But see, but you can see right there next to the red towards us, see right there. That's the crack. That's the crack that Jen saw. That's the crack that Kerry saw when she was following the car back from McCabe's house back to John's house. That's the crack. That's the crack. And you know who didn't say a crack? The lead detective never used the word crack. Ever.
Right. Said shattered.
Shattered.
Yeah.
So then here
in May, there was a PI video of Karen's SUV in May of 2022.
Yeah.
Where's the taillight, Sean?
Well, Brian Wallace took it out, and I guess they wanted to keep it around because they had the bag of real taillight pieces that never went out to the scene. They just, it was a fugazi. They just said, take these 3 down, the CERT will find them, and then we have the connection. And then we'll go down and make believe we found more as the snow melted. What a bunch of bullshit that is. Hey, listen, I'm sorry, but
that's fine.
I lived this too long. I did this too long, and I got validation. I was able to get validation, all right? And I said, I know this is the crux of the case, all right? Unfortunately now, I don't think Josh Levy knew anything about this goddamn thing. So all my work is going down the tubes because they got the real stuff. And we're going to find out about it on March 12th. It's going to be huge. It's going to be epic. It's going to be huge.
Another close-up of the...
Do you guys ever have that guy, Mike Fusilli, up there? He's a kind of a heavy guy. He goes, it's going to be huge. There you go. That's the guy. I love it.
Right. Let's pull up this video. We'll go through the video here. I want everybody to see this because it is important. Oh, shit. Did I not have it queued up? Let me get this queued up. Sorry about that, Sean. I had the tab open, but I lost it. But I want to show everybody. If you haven't seen it, I did an enhanced video here.
Beautiful.
I won't play the sound because obviously me and Sean are...
Yeah, all the wind and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice. You see that tire jut.
Oh yeah, beautiful. we're gonna see everything here in a second. Let me just find the video.
Huge. That's right. Huge with the Y. That's true. Who's that? That's who's that? Yeah, Danny 11. That's true. Huge.
Yeah. All right, what do we got here? Oh, here I got it. Hang on one second. Let me back this up.
Oh, Jesus.
So we pulled video from Court TV, and I did an enhancement on it. So you're going to get the playthrough first is going to be just the normal security camera view from that night. Everybody has to understand. Karen was parked in inside John's garage. She's now leaving at 5:08 to return back to 34 Fairview. So we'll get the first playthrough here. Let's see. Let me get this rolling out. Okay, let me back up. Here we go. So it should stop playing here in a second. All right. So this is the original video, and you're going to see it make contact. Now they're saying, and I'm going to have some arrows come in here in a second, but you can see on the side here where the car moves forward. Right there. That's where she made contact.
Right.
Now they're saying that Karen hit John at 12:30 in the morning, ran him over, and took off and left. That's what the Commonwealth statement is. So I'm just trying to clarify to people that don't know what's going on in this case. But this is clearly where she cracked the taillight.
Absolutely.
And we'll just keep playing through. I kind of loop
Yeah.
it a couple times here. Tell
Sure.
me whenever you want me to stop. Or
No, this is fine. I love it. I did this a million times if I did it once.
there's all your point of contacts. You can see her car move, her SUV move forward when she make contact down here.
Right.
You can see, I mean, clearly right there, you see his car move forward.
No, there's no doubt. And furthermore, it's actually John's car that stops her car.
Yeah.
It's John's
would've
car
kept
that
going.
stops the car. Then she puts the brakes on afterwards. You'll see that fence. See?
Yep.
The fence lit up like a Christmas tree.
Christmas
there you
tree.
go. Look at that. How did you do that?
So what I want to do. Oh, okay. So now we'll show her car actually leaving. And I've enhanced this. So up here in the corner, you'll be able to see the tail light that's cracked and get a really good view of it here.
Right. See,
Bam.
there it is. There it is. There it is right there. See that? That's that white piece that's missing. The bulb is gone. Contrary to the left side, it's all lit up.
Right.
Now, when she puts the brakes on, the whole thing will light up again because there's another red part that's full. Watch when she backs, when she gets to the end, that right side will turn completely red. And that's why when we go back to that fully tacked taillight you had, Brian, you will see where the red is under the white. And then that thing's it's going to light up like a Christmas tree.
So let's see here. You're going to see the full view now when she leaves.
Yeah.
Just coming.
The taillight is the face of corruption in this case.
You see it right there.
Yeah, right. But when she gets out to the end, you'll see that the whole thing turns red.
Right.
That's the face of corruption right there. We know that that's right side. What I did was, Brian, I used Proctor's own words against him.
Right there. See, it lights up.
There it is. Because as you see in that original picture where they use the other model of the the taillight, it's only the white part. The white part. So these other LED lights interact, but the white brake light, backup light, is cracked, right? That's why it's not illuminated. But you can't beat that, right? You can't beat the fact. But when you look at the real picture that they're trying to throw down our throat, that whole red pot is history. It's gone.
It doesn't make sense. Right.
Just like Kevin Lenihan said, it's gone. There's only a jagged piece left. That's his words. He saw it and he agreed.
Yeah, let's go up to the here, I want to show
He agreed.
So explain this, Sean. This is the taillight they say they found in the we got lasers going on there.
He agreed. He agreed with me.
So this is the piece that they say that they found on scene, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only curved part of the taillight. And guess what? It's on the car at 508. This is lunacy. This is beyond. How the hell they're going to explain this? This is lunacy. It really is. It's on the car. Right there. It's right there.
Now this is Karen's car being towed from her parents' house.
1612. 412.
The whole light's there, Sean.
Right there. It's right there. I mean, like I said, how they going to get beyond that?
All right. I got a couple questions.
You got it.
Let's get into this a little bit. So if Proctor, state police, if anybody doesn't know, he was the lead investigator from the state police on this case. He goes to Karen's house. They seize their vehicle. And that was what the shot we just saw previous to this.
Sure.
Seizes Karen's SUV. Why did he have it transported back to Canton, and why not just transport it back to the state police crime lab? How about this? I'll even go one step further, Sean.
Sure.
Why is there not a crime lab called out to her parents' house and they use crime scene tape like we saw in the earlier videos?
Right.
I mean, this is what infuriates me about this. You have the potential murder weapon that killed a Boston police officer in possession, and now you're going to load it on a flatbed, not go to the state police crime lab, but you're going to tow it 33 miles back to Canton from Dighton. And then that SUV is going to sit there for 3 days. You have the potential murder weapon in your possession.
Sure.
3 days you're going to sit on this and not process that murder weapon.
Okay. So you want me to be honest? And
Yeah, I
give
want you to
my
be
honest opinion. Okay, why did he
Your
do
opinion.
it?
This is
Well,
Sean's
the
opinion.
obvious, it's my opinion. All right. The obvious is, okay, A, we know he didn't take a picture. Every detective has a cell phone.
Yeah.
Right. They should have a pack in the back of their car, at least to take a nice digital picture, because as we know now in Canton, they took little pictures with a cell phone. Now the cell phone's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about problems. But anyways, he takes no picture. And by the way, that what a lot of people probably don't know is that Karen was so cooperative with them that she handed over her cell phone, and they got the cell phone that day, Brian. So they get the car, they get the cell phone. All right. Now, so the car is on. You brought up a great point. They should have had that car processed there.
Yeah.
Bring big tents. You can bring tents.
Right there, Sean.
Yeah, right there. Because what happens if that friggin' tow truck skids out, flips over, and destroys the car? I mean, as a cop, I got it. It's in my possession. Why would I risk the snow, right? The snow it's coming down. You're going back on the highway. Why would I risk having something like this, right? So we know why. I feel like I sound like Karen. We know who
why.
steered this.
Set it up.
We
right.
know why it went back to Canton, because here's the thing. They still didn't have the evidence to link her in that car. This is so juvenile, so elementary. And unfortunately, I don't know what kind of pressure they had. They had to get the taillight back to Canton so it would be quicker. And even though some people say, "Oh, it'd be impossible with all the people there to get," are you serious? It goes. As I said, I would want a bunch of people there. I would want a chaotic scene. I got the three people here. I got in my coat. I'm going down. Hey, Joey, how you doing? Boom. They want. Hey, Saul. Boom. Here's another one. Hey, Captain, how you doing? Boom. It's all there. 3 pieces only went down, right? Only 3 pieces. And maybe the friggin' they got the sneaker somewhere, right? That went over there, right? I don't know about the hat. That was probably the other way, you know?
And then as they kept going back, it's mysterious that they keep finding pieces of the taillight. And I make a joke here, and I use this kind of analogy. There's a David Chappelle. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I love
David
him.
Chappelle. He's got
DC
a
guy.
really, really early on in his career. And he talked about, corrupt cops. And he said, how do we make this all go away? Well, you just sprinkle some crack on it. And I used to say they just sprinkled the taillight around. They sprinkled the taillight around.
I hate to say this. Back in the day, cops had throw down knives, throw down guns. I hate to say it, but this is what I'm saying. These are the new generation of cops. They should know better. You're not going to get away with this shit.
So I think we answered question 2. I said, why they transport it back and then days it sat in Kent.
Right.
So how did the taillight go from cracked but intact to completely missing? And how did fragments of the broken glass and a human hair, which it wasn't, end up a hearing, Sean? It just magically stuck to this bumper 33 miles out, stuck to the rear bumper in transportation on a tow truck in the winter weather from Dighton to Canton, Mass, 33 miles. Doesn't make sense.
So in my career, I used to talk about corruption. Okay. That's why I created this corruption thing. And there's a thing called the slippery slope, right? And especially in our job, it was mostly about money, right? So a young guy goes on, right? Goes on a search warrant, sees a couple like maybe $50 in 20s, 10s and 220s, scoffs it for whatever reason. Gets by, he looks by. So that's the first act. That's the hardest part. Then the next search warrant goes in, maybe it's $300 inside the drawer, whatever. They found the mother load, but there's $300 that the kid's keeping away from the mother, the wife or something. He takes that, puts it in his pocket. Each time you get corrupted, you're going to take more chances. All right. When they decided, right. Well, after the taillight was broken, when they decided, they said, "Frig it, we're going for broke." Right now, think about it. How long did they have John's clothes? A long time, right? They had the blood there, right? That blood came back to Canton in the red Solo cups, right? So what do we have? We have the taillight smashed. There's evidence. You had DNA in the Solo cups, right? That's evidence. We're going to put it on the friggin' on the taillight, right? You got the hair. All right. I saw the picture of the hair when this kid, Joseph Warren and Natalie the German created a page. They released sensitive evidence and they showed the stupid hair. The hair was gray. John didn't have gray hair, but that's the shit they want to throw down your throat. Anyways, so they had all this stuff, right? And you know your little sprinkles of the crack.
Yeah. Sprinkle the taillight around.
It doesn't take much to sprinkle out some taillight and put it in there.
You know, it's funny though.
Broke. They went the whole gamut.
But it's funny though, because in the initial statement by the Commonwealth, and you go back and look, and they talk about this drinking glass that John supposedly had with him, right?
Right.
If you look at the original statement from the Commonwealth, it says on there they found pieces of glass on the back bumper. How the fuck, Sean, did a drinking glass make it all the way back? Like I just said, all those points. You're loaded on a flatbed. You towing it back in the winter wet of the Canton. Okay, so it went from they found pieces of it, and then the narrative changed again. It was embedded. When Lally got up and spoke in court, the narrative changed. It was embedded. It was embedded in the bumper.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, I'm telling you, when you go that route, it's free game. They'll do whatever they can to make the charge stick. Right? That's what they're going to do.
So again, we talked about the 3-day delay. I think we kind of cleared that up. Obviously, damage to the SUV. Honestly, in my opinion, sounded like a fender bender.
Right.
It doesn't sound like someone was run over and hit the way the Commonwealth is. And
sounded like she backed into John's car.
Yeah. And I said, why not more damage? Supposedly, this SUV, Karen's SUV, hit a 6'1", I think it was 6'1", 218-pound man backing up at 62 feet, 24.2 miles an hour. But the narrative has changed multiple times by the Commonwealth. There was a 3-point turn theory, and now it's just 62 feet. The 62 feet has been taken away.
That's what I'm saying. Everything's been taken away.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh, Sean, but I mean, this is a very serious case. I mean, Karen's life is on, she's fighting for her life to be out of jail. But it's almost like, listen, when Jackson, Yannetti, and Little get up there, in my opinion, it's going to be like fishing with dynamite. I think there's so many holes that can be poked in here. There's so much corruption here that has gone on in this case. And believe me, Sean, when they get up there and cross-examine witnesses, it's all going to fall apart. And the one thing that we got to remember too, Cellbrite data, not just Cellbrite, but five other extractions on those phones.
Sure.
Everybody's going to know where everybody was. And they already do.
Listen, I mean, it's all there. The March 12th, I keep saying, because I don't want to jinx it, because I hope there's not another continuance. But if March 12th does go, it's going to be incredible. It really will be. Because Jackson's going to light it up. Yannetti's going to light it up. So Jackson's got the motion to dismiss. Yannetti's got the motion to sanction. Let me tell you, it's going to be. You're not going to believe how. I mean, if any of the stuff that Jackson and Yannetti did during the course of this is what you want to see. This is what defense attorneys live for, and they're going to have the damning exculpatory evidence, which they hid from Karen. That's the ticket right there.
Heather says in the chat, I think Alan Jackson is going to blow Lally out of the water and trial.
Absolutely.
I have to agree.
No doubt, Heather Farrell. No doubt.
So let's talk about this, Sean.
Beautiful. Yeah.
No police press conference. And I want to play an example here for the home audience here really quick. I just want to play this, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about this really quick. But let me pull this video up. This is what happens. This is usually what happens most of the time, and you probably can contest to this too, Sean, when an officer passes away in the line of duty. Let's just play the first about 20 seconds of this.
Sure.
Y'all know why we're here. Last night, shortly after 1 o'clock, probably, I can't even begin to talk about how bad this is. Shortly after 1 o'clock, the law enforcement community here in the Metro Des Moines area lost 2 officers. It started about 1:05 in the morning in Urbandale. Officers responded to reports of shots being fired in that area. The first officers to arrive on the scene found a police officer, another police officer, still seated in his vehicle, and he'd been shot and killed.
All right. May those officers rest in peace.
Yeah, exactly.
But why, Sean, why no police conference? So even something like this, or how about this? They come out after Karen's taken in and they say, if Karen Reed didn't do this, we're going to find out who did.
Right. Listen, the news didn't have any problem coming out in the snow. They were out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The chief of police at that time, the acting chief was Rafferty, Helena Rafferty.
Mm-hmm.
She could have come out and made a brief statement, or the lieutenant, or mom, or Morrissey. They make these. Look at Morrissey down in Braintree on that shooting. He gave a statement. He gave a statement up at there in Dover at the murder suicide thing, right? I mean, this is what they do. Why was this is even more so. I'm thinking about this now. This is another avenue to say everything was so avoided in this case. Mm-hmm. You couldn't even give him a proper
attention. Sean didn't want any attention.
I know. Not even a proper press conference to identify we lost a great man today, John O'Keefe. Talk about talk about him. Talk about him. You know, they couldn't even do that. That's why I'm saying. You asked me what interesting the injustice. They had nothing for this guy. Zip, nothing.
It's unbelievable. I mean, nothing. No press. I mean, you hear that. I mean, I see videos and it's sad. I mean, we see these videos all over YouTube. You know, we lost an officer today, officer down, officer killed, firefighters killed, you know, in the line of duty. There's nothing. I mean, it's unbelievable. Even if they didn't want to do it outside, go do it inside the Canton Police Department.
But here's the thing, all right? This was an evolving. See, they didn't have the answers, right? They didn't have the answers, right? So. Yeah, usually like this captain or lieutenant or chief, when he said, you know, the officers were shot. Mm-hmm. Well, they were originally investigating John's death as a domestic violence case, right? Just the narrative changed midway through the morning into the early afternoon. And getting back to your statement about why the seizure at Dighton, that car was in One Meadows, literally 2.5 miles from the crime scene.
Yeah.
The crime scene.
Yeah.
Why not have gone then? Why not then? Right?
Exactly.
Karen was in section, whatever the hell they call it. And they could have gone up there. The family had the car. You know, it's funny. No one at that house saw a gaping hole. I mean, we've seen the pictures, right? No one has seen the gaping hole. We know Jen and Carrie didn't see the gaping hole because it didn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Susan says, even when officers are seriously injured, there's press conferences now.
Of course.
I mean,
of course. It's standard operating procedures now. You got to tell the public. And I got to tell you, that poor officer that was given that, you could tell he was welling up because that's one. It doesn't matter. We're all affected. You know, we're all affected. And I'll tell you, you know what the worst thing to do that I had to do was to make a death notification to the wife. It is the hardest thing because they know when you come, they know it. They want to deny it, but it's the hardest thing you have to do. It's awful, Brian. Awful.
I would never want to deliver that news as an officer or a doctor or a nurse, anything in that position. It's
because to be honest with you, you know, cops, we joke around, right?
Yeah.
But the wives know every time you go out, or the husbands of a female police officer go out, there's a good possibility you're not coming back. We've seen the stories. Poor kid, first day in the job, he's shot dead.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the problem, Brian, you know? And
go ahead, Sean.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm just going to let the chat know. We'll direct questions at the end. So just save your question in. I'm sure Sean will take plenty of questions here. I just wanted to get through some of the sticking points that him and I talked about. So let's move on here a little bit. So, you know, let's talk about the motive, Sean. I lost you. Hang on.
No, I'm right here.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the motive. What is the motive? I look at it. I say there's no insurance settlement. There's no trust. There's no will going to Karen from John. They're not married. You know, there's no motive. There's no motive for Karen to do this to John, in my opinion.
Right. Homicide detectives look at three things. Motives means opportunities. Okay. What was the motive? Right. The motive was you had a bunch of knuckleheads drinking all day long. You had to toss testosterone and booze. Okay. Right. The motive is you had a bunch of knuckleheads drinking. Right. The means. Well, yeah, they were there. They got in a fight, and the opportunity. The problem is, let's go from here. Now you got to deal with John. Now you're going to think about this. Okay, the motive. The motive was to conceal their actions. You got to look at it. So there was two things. Okay, here's Olivia. Look at that.
Yeah.
There was two things, Brian.
Yeah.
Do you have someone that puts those things up? You have a mod?
I do it.
You do it. Oh, you do it. Look at that.
The show.
You're a pro. Look at that. So you had two things, Brian. You had the action, right? But it evolved into something else. Now you have poor John down the basement, because that's what we're hearing, right? Their motive that night was to conceal their actions. Okay. I don't believe, honestly, they wanted to frame Karen. I don't believe that. I believe they thought about it and they said, okay, what we're going to do. All right. I don't believe that was option one. Okay. But so they had the opportunity and means. The opportunity was, okay, the plan, we're going to put them out, and let's just hope when we say to someone, hey, call in that you saw a suspicious pedestrian down in the Fairview area, hoping that another guy would call the cops. And then the cops would make an inadvertent discovery of poor John. Okay. That was option one. That was the best case scenario. Okay. That would be the best case scenario for everyone concerned. Karen's out of it. They're out of it. They can say, Jesus, he was here.
Yeah.
And he left. He must have got hit by a snowplow. Right. That's option number one. Option number two. Right. What was option number two? Anyway, option number two became Karen. Okay. They were hoping maybe he would be found by a passerby, but he wasn't. He wasn't. So now you have to go for broke. Now you have Karen. What would happen if no one found the body, right? Karen didn't call, whatever. The little lady down the street wants to take her dog out for a walk before the big storm comes, and she sees the body. How does this change? You know they're going into Brian's house now. Now they have to go into Brian's house. That would have been the best possibility for John O'Keefe, that someone from the neighborhood would be an inadvertent discovery by an old lady or a guy or someone.
Right.
Inadvertently found down the road. John right there. And now you call the cops. And now the cops have to act. And they're going to ask those questions.
Let me ask you a question, Sean. Things got out of hand in the house. And what I want to do next after I say this, I'd love to hear what you think happened in your opinion. But let's just say things get out of hand in the house. Obviously, a fight breaks out. John hits his head, passes out. Why not stop and call someone at that time, Sean? You have time to save someone's life. You have time to save John's life. You're all police officers or connected to police officers in the house. You know how this is probably going to go in the end of it. Everybody's going to just say it was an accident.
Exactly.
But why go through this whole measure to blow it all out? And it's crazy. If it just was stopped.
Because let's face it, they get into a fight. I mean, fights happen, right? It would have been much easier to to call in the cops, right? And they could have covered up the fight. They could have said, well, it was a crisscross or it was a fortunate
scene. They don't want that on their hands is what it is.
Yeah,
so we're going to put
I
it
guess,
out.
No, what I'm saying is that if they were going to go through the lengths to cover up a murder, well, covering up a fight would have been easy. You know, they could have said, hey, he came in, he had an argument with Karen, he came in all pissed off, he was shitty, and it was an accident. That would have been great. That's what cops are supposed to do.
Right.
That's what the ATF agent should have done. That's what Brian Albert should have done. I don't know why. That's kind of crazy. Like I said, I don't believe there was any motive per se, like set up, because let's face it. Think about this. They didn't know Karen wasn't coming in. They didn't know. If Karen came in, she probably would have saved John. I mean, John, you know, it's a Monday morning quarterbacking, right? But the thing is, they didn't know Karen was coming in. I don't know what the hell. It's kind of funny. They didn't know, but how did they not know?
I think it was the point of this, Sean. They knew that it got so out of hand in that house. Right. Okay. And even if they tried to cover up and say this was a fight that got out of hand, they didn't want that on their ass because they knew it would bring a lot of negative attention to everybody inside that house. It would bring a lot of negative attention to the Canton PD department and so on. So why not? We'll just drag them out there on the front lawn and dump them. And guess what? Karen did it.
Right. Exactly. And then, unfortunately, that's the way it ended up, because not initially, because they had the friends and family meeting down at Jen's. Originally, it was a domestic assault. Well, Brian Albert knows better than that. He's going to say 90-pound woman soaking wet is not going to do those bruises to John. So they did the theory about a stupid car accident, which is crazy because everything was limited from the neck up,
So I got to ask you, what do you think happened at 34 Fairview that night?
Okay. So I believe between the waterfall and 34, things kind of probably went south between John and Karen. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the atmosphere was bad. Okay. Because she was game, right? She was game, right? Get the pieces. But then she said, if you listen, she said, I don't know if we're invited here because you got the invite. And I think, to Karen's credit, she was the outsider. She wasn't in that loop. Right.
Because she said, I think there was, you sure you want to go there?
Yeah, you sure you want to win, right? Who knows? I mean, and listen, I'm going to tell you right now, there is not one woman in this chat here, right? Or one guy that if 3 weeks ago there was an incident of potential drunken infidelity, right? I don't care if it was a little smooch, right? You don't show up after how many hours, right? That's going to be fresh on your mind. Any woman out there, you're going to, and now you got Karen's smart. She picks up on body language. She picks up on how Jen McCabe is. Come on, let's face it. I mean, she heard the story. She had it. If I'm hearing stories down here in friggin' Naples, right? She must have known the stories, right? Come on. So now she's thinking, oh, fuck, here we go. John wants to go in. I don't want to go in. He's going in with that little hussy fucking Jen McCabe. Yeah, I said it. That's right, Jen. I said it. All right. I said it. And bottom line, Brian, is I think that affected her. And she probably said, F you, whatever, right? Maybe she gave him a little chacacata to the face. I don't know. Who knows, right? That might be what they're all saying. I didn't hit you that hard. Well, she probably said, she gave a little slap, right? I mean, maybe there's words. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Right. She didn't kill him. I don't care. She didn't kill him. Right. The evidence does not support that Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe.
And the evidence supports that John went in that house that night.
Right. Because we're going to, And like that body language specialist said the other night, you could see that hand. Karen's hand pointed, she visualized herself. She said, I don't know if we're paying. I didn't get an invite, but you got it. And she's pointing right at the passenger seat. It was right there because she was living this. And that's the greatest part about that body language thing, because she was vivid enough to even remember the positions they were in. So that's the deal. So what did I think happened? He goes in, he's pissed. Now, I don't know. Listen, it doesn't take Brian Albert long to go from 0 to 120 in a fight. People have told me, people who have witnessed his fights, he's at the bar, he's drinking a beer, and boom, out of nowhere. Yeah. He is the sucker. This is the problem with him, right? He's a fighter. He should know how to fight, right? He should know how to fight. Then why sucker someone that doesn't expect it? When you're a cop and you're around other cops, you should feel the safest you ever feel, the safest you can be. Yeah. And this idiot is banging out cops and firemen to the point where one person told me they thought this fireman was going to die. That's how bad it was. He used a bottle that time. The kid's got problems. So yeah, I can see it happen. If it wasn't, listen, everyone's saying the kid, the kid, the kid. Well, we know who the kid is, right?
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that Brian was a part of it. There's no doubt, right? It doesn't take a guy. Listen, he was drinking all day. Booze with Brian is the worst combination. Booze in his mind, whatever it is. I don't know what he knew about John. I don't really think they knew each other. I think they met a little bit beforehand, a couple of days beforehand. So, and then the other idiot, this is what I want to say. All right. Okay. There's a couple of people out in the chat that know me. And I'm going to make this statement because I know what I'm saying here. All right. This idiot, Brian Higgins, right? He's a whoremonger. Okay. All right. To think that I didn't want to make a move. Right. There's not one woman, all right, in Massachusetts. And I don't know why. I don't know why he thinks he's that special. He has made moves on every woman. He would never walk away from Karen, right? He's full of shit. And you know why I know that? Because he's like a hound dog. He's like a dog in heat. And I know it's bullshit. And
it's funny that you brought. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
I was to say it's funny that you brought that up. I was kind of laughing at the Commonwealth's recent statement, how they talked about the Higgins, the text message and all. Frankly, I don't give a shit. I don't really care. But how about this? How about we turn it around and say, why wasn't it Higgins putting the move on Karen, and he's just telling a reverse cycle of what happened?
Listen, I've talked to women. I have talked to women who was in that position. He goes for the golden ring. He doesn't back off for nothing. And here's the other thing, Brian. Who was writing those reports?
Yeah.
Proctor. Who controls the narrative? Proctor. Who thought that this case was going to go away? They did.
Yeah. Yep.
They did. Listen, I always said this, Brian. I'm going to say it on your show. You can, I can't, I'm not going to, you can mess up the investigation, but you better never mess up the cover up. They failed miserably. Look at this, miserably. So this thing's supposed to go off. I got this foolish thing. If I put my thumb up,
oh, you get a little thumb
up. Give me a thumb on the background. I don't know. They were going crazy the other night with showers and.
I know what I wanted to talk to you about, and I forgot to put this in the presentation, but I remember this. The statement about Karen saying, I hit him. Now, I call this the my cousin Vinny theory, and I'm going to tell you why.
Sure.
I got a little video here they're going to play about a 10-second video, but this is what I want to talk about. Hang on. I'm going to play this video really quick, and then we can talk about it. You ever seen My Cousin Vinny? I shot the clerk. I shot the clerk. Yeah. All right, I'm going to play that real quick.
At what point did you shoot the clerk?
I shot the clerk.
Yes, when did you shoot him?
I shot the clerk.
Right.
Now, that's the way that I took it when everybody's like, oh, you hit him. Yeah, I hit him. Right. I hit him. She's asking a question. I hit him.
Right.
Now, the Commonwealth's trying to say she made a statement, and Jen McCabe is trying to say she made a statement.
Right. My understanding is that female EMT or EMS person.
And the EMT as well, too.
She thought her interpretation was that she hit him, gave him a little slap. Because remember, they were thinking this was a domestic. I'm telling you, at 10:41, Yuri Buchanek, right, called the Good Sam and said, yeah, we're still working this as a domestic assault. So at 6:15, when that female, the interpretation was, so she must have hit him like a slap.
Right.
And God knows what was embedded in her poor brain when she's desperately trying. Listen, when you listen to that voicemail, right, that she left for John, and it comes off John's phone. You can't fake that. I'm telling you, you can't fake it. You can't fake that.
Yeah, that night,
someone else did fake it, though. Someone else did fake their call. So listen, nothing's adding up. Nothing has ever added up in that case, ever. And unbeknownst to all those people involved, they keep saying, how can all these people be involved in a conspiracy? That's right, Liz. She was traumatized. Trauma takes on many. My wife's going through trauma now, head-on collision, right? I mean, she doesn't want to drive. It's all. But how can all these people be involved? Well, they're involved because they never knew that the feds were behind them, watching everything. I'm going to guarantee that's what part of that 3,100 pages is going to show something. I guarantee there's warm bodies that have cooperated. There's technology that puts John in that house. There's witnesses. Like I say, warm bodies. Nothing like a warm body that has cooperation. You can't beat a statement on the stand. Yes, and I know this because I was next to so-and-so, and so-and-so gets up. She says, yeah, I saw it. I saw the whole thing, and so-and-so is next to me. And then they come in with the technological person who says, yeah, not only that, we put John's cell phone in that house, and he goes downstairs, he come upstairs, because that was the movement of the cell phone, maybe not John's body. That's the movement of the cell phone. Are you shitting me? Come on.
Well, I always say this. I love Jackson's statement here. Let me play this really quick.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
That's true.
I love that.
It is a duck.
I love it. It's a duck.
It is. It
You want to take some questions, Sean?
I'll take any question you want.
All right. Let me just do this. I'm going to recognize some people here really quick.
Sure.
Danny, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. LKJ, thank you for becoming a new member. Duke Dudley's asking, $1.99. Thank you. So, Sean, were you a cop? 50.
Of course I was. Did you not listen? You haven't been listening to me. Come on, Duke, Dookie. I was a cop for 5 years. Well, actually 7 years. 7 years. But I was a crime scene investigator, right? For 3 years in Arlington County. We did accident investigations all the time. And go back and tell Kevin I said that. That's right, Duke.
Yeah. Nay, thank you for becoming a new member. I appreciate that so much. And Amy in Boston, thank you for becoming a member as well. And I thank everybody that has sent me donations through Buy Me a Coffee as well. Thank you.
Oh, that's
all right, let's do this.
How do you get a coffee? I want a coffee.
I'm gonna help you set all that up. Don't worry.
I'm just kidding you. I'm kidding you. I don't need coffee. You think you think I need coffee?
All right, so let's do this. Let's take some questions for Sean. If you want to ask a question, I'll try to get to as many as I can. And just put a Q and then your question, we'll pull it up. And if you really
I got one
want
question. Dennis Sweeney, he's a good guy. Why didn't they go in the house if it was a domestic? That's a great question. That's right. Why didn't they go in? Right. My follow-up to that is they found a body on the ground. How did they know no one else in that house was injured? We have a thing called protective sweeps, right? They should have gone in as duty bound to say, Jesus Christ, maybe we have a triple homicide in there. Maybe John was the guy. Maybe John killed people. Maybe his gun is in there. Listen, crazy things happen, right? They should have gone in that house to do a protective sweep. Jen obviously either had the key or the door was open because she got in and no one came down. She said they went up the stairs. One they knew the sister-in-law was there. Brian was the cops knew this. Maybe there was a triple homicide. Maybe there were 3 people in there. Maybe John went crazy. Maybe his gun was taken. Who knows? I carry my gun all the time.
Oh, I want to ask you a question, Sean. My dad, when I was telling you about my dad backstage.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great story. Great story.
He texted me the other night. And here's a good question for you, and maybe you can answer this.
Sure.
So my dad said to me, Brian Higgins was clocked in at Canton Police Department at 1:30 a.m. on 1/29/22. Wouldn't he still be drunk?
Of course. Listen, okay. So as a federal agent, right? Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, and listen, he's not that guy. I can tell you right now, he's a playboy. I don't know why he thinks he's a playboy. He's full of shit. All right. He didn't go in to clock in. All right. He didn't go in to clock in. That's a bunch of bullshit. He went in to get the phone calls going. He knew those cell phones were going to be lit up like a Christmas tree. They all do that. They're smart, right? Listen, I mean, technology now, they go to the training. They know what's going on. He goes in there to get the ball rolling, right? He makes the phone calls. He's getting Berkowitz online. He's waking up the whole thing, right? And I guarantee, like I said, I've always said, if they get Jen McCabe's Verizon cell phone, you're going to see who she called at the critical hours.
Noel's asking me, can you give Neilio and Carlito a shout out? Neilio and Carlito, we're going to send you a shout out tonight. Thank you so much.
Carlito's way.
Yeah, yes, Carlito's Way. Great movie.
That's a great movie, right?
Yeah. So I want my vintage asks Sean, do you think there's a deeper corruption that does that's higher up, or are these troopers just the fall guys?
Absolutely, it's higher than
the real fall guy is, and I don't even want to say it.
Absolutely,
Lally's going to be the fall guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, absolutely, this goes higher than you will ever imagine. Okay, and like I said, Brian has the dirt. Not Brian Higgins. Brian Higgins wants to chase broads. That's all he wants to do. I'm telling you. The other Brian does too, but he's also pretty smart. He's got the dirt. And he probably said something like this: hey, so-and-so, if I go down and my family goes down, I'm taking everyone down. That's a classic. Don't fuck with me. I'm going to fuck with you. Look at me swearing again. My wife's going to kill me. Jesus Christ.
So, and if you want your question to really stand out, just send it in a form of super chat.
That's nice. Look at that.
Yeah. So we got Lady T Rider asked Sean, do you know what John O'Keefe told Rafferty about the drugs or drug dealing?
I do. All right. He called up a detective in the detective bureau. He called up about a kid that lived on Burr Road. Right. I know this. Right. And the guy was doing hand-to-hand deals. Right. As a matter of fact, there's a video was taken of this kid. Right. When the phone call was made to the detective bureau, right, there were detectives hanging around, right? Mm-hmm. There was a consensus among some of the detectives that this kid, I'm not going to name him, he'll come out. But he lives on Burr Road, okay, that there had to be a connection between he and Colin, okay? But there was just a theory. It was just a theory. So as told to me, because my source was one of the guys in that group. His quote unquote is, the laziest detective he's ever seen, who's never volunteered for anything, jumps up and says, hey, I'll take that call. Mm-hmm. And that's Kevin Albert. Kevin Albert was a detective at that time. And my source says he's never volunteered for anything. He volunteered to leave early. That's what he did, right? But this guy said, hey, I'll take that call. Now, of course, what we're going to find? We're going to find a bunch of reports that Kevin Albert did. And John not only called once, he called several times to talk to my source. And there was a theory, right? Everyone has a theory, right? But that was the thing. The kid was living on Burr Road. There was always a link up. They thought theoretically that there was a relationship, a connection between this kid. He was older than Colin. He was older. But Colin, listen, they try to portray Colin as, oh, he's just 7. When I was 17, I was 6'2", 225. Okay. I'd fucking take your head off. I don't give a shit how old you were. Okay. But I wasn't that guy. Colin was on steroids. All right. He had the anger. And don't forget those knuckles. Don't forget those knuckles. A week and a half, 2 weeks later. Yep. Don't forget those. All right. Yep. And don't forget the TikTok video. And don't forget the kids at Canton who are now chirping. Look at that. Remember the song that just came out? Yeah. They released this song with the words about Chloe. Yeah. Think about that. Kids are talking. Kids will always talk.
Yeah. Linda's asked, Sean, do you think Higgins flipped?
If he hasn't flipped, he's a fool. Because he probably has the most to lose amongst everyone. That federal pension is gold. It's not much, but it carries you through to the day you're put in the grave. And if he hasn't flipped, he's a fool.
Wow, look at that old vintage Indian. I love that photo right there. That's great. Nice motorcycle, by the way. Use a 617. Awesome bike. He asks, he or she asks, do you think who do you think Sean helped? Who does Sean think that helped move the body? Who's Ford Edge did Lucky see? 2-part question.
Okay, so who's left at the scene? All right, let's make believe who's at the scene, right? So obviously Brian's still there. Jen's not going to help, right? Jen's gone, Matt's gone, right? So you could have the one Albert kid, Brian Jr. He's a big kid, right? 6'3", right? Kid's a big guy, right? Was Chris there? Did Chris and Colin come back? They have a Ford Edge, right? Did Kevin Albert leave his house like it's purported at 2 o'clock in the morning? He's got a light-colored Ford Edge, or at least did at one point. I don't know what the hell's up with these Ford Edges. They're nice.
Everybody's
They really
got them
are
apparently
nice.
again.
Yeah, who's the kid? It was a Rodman Ford. Rodman Ford. I mean, when I was a kid, Rodman, Dinger. How does Dinger do it? And you had Rodman.
Right.
But I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, it makes sense that to block the view of people. Beautiful. Listen, it's a tactical decision. It's tactical to use the car as cover. You know, we use cars as cover in shootouts.
Right.
They use the car. This is a cop operation. They knew what they were doing. You know, so.
And I told you, Sean, I drove by there just a couple of weeks ago because I've never been down to the property at night. I've been there many, many times a day. And I when we had our first phone call, we talked about this. And I said, I'm telling you, Sean, those sons of bitches down in the basement looked out that small basement window. It gave you a clear view to everything that was going on. They sat with that light off and probably walked right from there.
Right. Right.
So LJ says, I have a bad feeling that somehow these clowns are going to get away with this. I think this corruption goes way back to the Whitey Bulger days with Mass State Police.
Well, the Whitey Bulger days was them and you're right. Them and the FBI when you think about it. Right. So, okay. So let's talk about this. What would cause or prompt us and the acting U.S. attorney that's going to be confirmed as the U.S. attorney? What would prompt him to say in good conscience, I can't allow this to go to trial? Right. You know, that's a very big statement. Right. So I don't believe they're talking about, well, we didn't give Karen this page of the evidence. We didn't give, it's got to be something huge. Right. And I'm telling you, right, everyone seems to think that those kids or people have not spoken, right? It just takes one, and then the ball, the cookie, the dominoes fall. Okay, I believe, along with the technology, at least a minimum of 2 people in that house cooperated. If you look at that statement by Yannetti when he did the affidavit to sanction. It's in that affidavit. Right. He says, we found a civilian witness phone that puts John in the house. That is huge. That means that whoever that civilian is has cooperated. And to corroborate a witness, you never do a case just with one witness. As a federal agent, there was a standard. If you had a witness, you had to have him corroborate 2 to 3 or 4 times back, right? Okay, I was present at such a. How do you know that? Well, I had my phone, and you can get my thing, and I was on a video coming into the meeting, whatever. I wholeheartedly believe in all my heart that a minimum of 2 people have cooperated. And if Higgins cooperated, because it makes sense. Listen, the family, the immediate family is tight. Brian, Colin, Chris, Kevin, they're not going to flip, right? This is blood. This is their blood. They're going to hold out. They may even now with the kissy, the kiss, they may turn it on Brian Higgins. Remember Turtle was saying, hey, Brian, blood. They're going to probably set you up. Look at Jillian saying, what about Brian Higgins? You're not talking about him. They're already putting him up to the pastures. So watch out for that.
There's a great question from Rick. Rick asks, I'm sure the feds know the whole story. Why are they even allowing this crap to go on? Are they giving more rope for people to hang themselves? Seeing how high up the corruption is.
Yes and yes, absolutely. Rick Campbell, that is a great. Listen, the Fed. This is a well-contained. Brian Higgins is not a serial. Brian Higgins. They're not. This is not a serial killer. We're not talking about a guy going out and hacking people up to death. This was an incident that got out of hand, and you had a lot of booze involved, and decisions weren't made. So yes, Mr. Hamill, that was a great question, because the bottom line is they don't need to act, and they are firming up other parts of the investigation that go higher up. That's my feel. That's my opinion.
User says Karen will be witnesses for the feds against the Alberts and others. GM's asking.
Well, let me get back to that. So I
Yeah.
just want to comment on that.
Yeah.
Karen being a witness. Listen, when your civil rights are violated, you are a victim.
Mm-hmm.
If that discovery, that 3,100 pages shows that they violated Karen's civil rights, of course she's a victim witness. And I said this maybe a month ago. Karen is in the position of being a defendant in a state case and a witness against the very same people that framed her. Of course she's going to talk to the FBI. Of course she's going to have a relation. Of course her attorneys. This is what we do. I told the story about when I was an agent. We had these bad guys. I'm flying all over the place with these guys. They could have killed me, but you trust these people. Of course, we as agents trust and have relationships with the victims and witnesses. That's how it goes. It doesn't matter if you're a good witness or a bad guy witness. You know what I'm saying? If you're a regular citizen versus a really bad actor like Whitey Bulger. Let's face it. He was a fucking informant.
Mm-hmm.
He was a stone cold killer. Right.
So CW asked, did they look for possible camera video footage in Karen's parents' neighborhood in Dighton?
That is a great question. And
great question.
There's someone who told me, who the hell? I talked to him all. Listen, I talk to thousands of people every day. This guy said, Sean, all the way. If you're out there, I know I talked to you. You've told me this a million times. There's so many video cameras of the SUV going back from Meadows to Dighton along the way. Red lights. I don't know what route they took.
Right.
I forget what Dighton is.
And we have
Dighton,
the missing library video.
Dighton, High School. That's what I remember. There's so many video cameras. Of course they didn't, because that wasn't part of their plan. Right? Their plan was to get that car back into the garage and smash it up.
Let's see. Scotty says, and this is a lot of this comes up, Sean. In your opinion, who do you think are the ones that may have flipped? That comes up a lot.
Okay. All right.
A lot.
So when I would do investigations, right, and we got a really good picture of who was who, all right, we would always look for the weakest link. The weakest link. And usually the weakest link is the person has the most to lose. Now, who has motive to cooperate? Who has the most to lose?
Right.
That Sarah Levinson has a beautiful, her nursing license she could lose, right? That's motive to cooperate. Brian Higgins has motive. For Christ's sake, he's a federal agent. He was duty bound to save John. He was duty bound to report. He's really messed up because he actually testified in the state grand jury. Right. There's a record of his perjury.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, you think Levy would knock him out of the office if he came in and said, I want to cooperate, I'll give it up? He'd take him in a heartbeat. We do this. This is what we do. So, so Sarah Levinson, Brian, I would say probably Julie Nagel. Let's face it. I had a theory like this. I had a theory.
Brian Nagel is the prosecution's nightmare right now.
Right. I had a theory that when this shit happened, Julie Nagel freaked and called her brother and said, I need to get the fuck out of here. Get down here now.
Yeah.
And I think Brian said to Jen, get those fucking kids in a corner. No one's leaving. Right. And so she said, I called my brother. He says, get rid of that kid. She goes out real quick and comes back in. Right. I think she's got reason to cooperate. And you know something? I think maybe the daughter. I think one of the daughters, and you know something? And I think Brian would cooperate to say, fuck it. I want to save my family. Yeah, my family knew. And guess what? If I cooperate, can I save Nicole and Brian Jr. and Caden, Kaylee, whatever, all the others? Because let's face it, they were all there. Yeah. That had to be a chaotic. The dogs are barking, people are screaming. You know, the girls are saying, "Oh my God, look at John! He's convulsing." I mean, listen, we've heard the stories.
Why not? Like, it's just crazy to think. Like, you have, I can't get over this. You have a dead Boston police officer in the front yard, And no one goes up to knock on the door and say, what the fuck? Like, did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Can we come in and look around and see if there was a fight? It's the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing.
Listen, I mean, come on. I mean, I've had conversations with Canton cops on the job, and they said, well, you know, Sean, you gotta understand, there was a snowstorm, and it was blustery, and it was this, and you know, and I said, well, okay, so-and-so. Well, how do you explain the thing, the marks on the arm, right? Yeah. Well, it could have been wild animals. It could have been feral, whatever, raccoons,
blizzard,
raccoons, coyotes, whatever the fuck. This is what these people are saying. I said, come on, Jesus Christ, coyotes.
Yeah, coyotes in Canton.
Okay.
Well, we know
they do have them.
We know who the real coyotes were, Sean, that night. We know who the real coyotes were.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Lisa asked a question.
Lisa.
She says, please ask Sean when he thinks the feds will make a move. This is another question that always comes up.
Right.
And also who will be arrested soon, Sean. She wants to know soon who's going to be arrested.
All right. Nothing happens quickly in the federal government. I will make a prediction. I mean, I don't, Lisa, I don't believe this case is going to go to trial. All right. Mm-hmm. I don't even believe that March 12th will kick off because let's face it, it's going to be a suicide mission for Lally to have those two killers come into that courtroom and say, of those 3,100 pages, this is why Josh Levy didn't have the conscience, and they're going to go down a litany of things, right? Now, listen, they had those motions done prior to Toohey and prior to Jen McCabe's cell phone records, right? Mm-hmm. And we all saw Karen mouth those words, and according to one of those court officers, she was look at the thing, look at the thumb.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened. I put my thumb up anyway.
How did it? You had lasers that came up earlier too. That was
I don't
funny.
know. I make a gesture and all the stuff comes up. I have no idea. I thought you could talk. Anyways, listen.
That's all right.
That court officer said Karen was looking straight at Jen McCabe, and she said whatever she said, but at the end, liar. You know why? Because Karen knows. Listen, they know how this ends. And I think, and if it gets to the taillight, I know how it ends too. You can't do it. They're not going to do it. But Lisa, I think if Karen goes to trial, if in the crazy possibility she goes to trial, they'll come in before she's gavelled in. They'll make the arrest before it happens. That's
so
what I
mean. Just more of a comment here. We have Australia watching tonight.
Look at this.
Sean.
This is
look at
beautiful.
this. It says Class A gutter trash, Jen the slurry, Higgins the whoremonger, Brian the buffoon, et al. And hi, Brian and Sean from Australia. Well, thank you for joining us from Australia tonight. That's unbelievable.
Nay. Listen, I had a great guy in Peru. He was an Australian federal police officer, man. He was awesome. Awesome. Oi, 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 oi.
K Healy 84 saying, wow, interesting show. Thank you so much for being here. Again, another Fed question from Suzanne. She says,
look at Suzanne, my friend Suzanne. She's great.
Yeah, and I met Suzanne last time out at the at Karen's last court hearing.
You're meeting everyone. I can't meet anyone.
Yeah. Suzanne says, do you think that the feds were investigating in Norfolk County before John's death?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think they were doing that and something else, something bigger. I believe it was always a public corruption case. In my heart of hearts, I think they backdoored into poor John's homicide.
Elizabeth asking, what do you see happening if this gets thrown out for Karen? So like the end result.
What do I see happening? In other words, when she gets completely, fully exonerated with prejudice, she's going to sue the hell out of anyone that touched this case. Mm-hmm. The town, the county, the state, the DA, everyone who had a tentacle is going to get sued. Mm-hmm. And then some. You know, you always go for the deepest pocket. And I'm sure she has a scene already set up.
Patrick says, considering how tall John is, do you think he would have had less steps recorded on his phone from the basement to his body?
Well, you know, it's always based on the movement, right? I mean, I do, you know, listen, I did my thing, which is stride. I just put it. Yeah, I got like a 2.5, 3 foot stride, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends. Did he even set it up that way? I don't
Right.
know. But the thing is, yeah, that would make sense. But let's face it, it's the movement of the phone, right? And how did that phone stop, right? But we know it had to be. We know. Listen, we're going to find out when the real, when the real data is given to us, not the fake ones by Garino and Hyde and all this other stuff. Listen, Olivia now knows. I mean, Olivia now blows me out of the water with the knowledge she has. She has so much knowledge. The way she explains it is bizarre. It's amazing how she explains it. She is the combat analyst. I call her the combat analyst.
So Colleen says, question for Sean. Since Birchmore's case was closed as a suicide and now the AG took the case from the Norfolk DA, what do you think that means? Has it officially been reopened?
I think they're taking another look at it for obvious reasons. I think maybe someone may have cooperated. You never know. I mean, you close it as a suicide. That doesn't mean you can't go back and open it up based on newly acquired evidence, which I believe next Tuesday, you're going to have Lally get up. Well, based on newly acquired evidence and in the interest of justice, we're going to dismiss this case against Karen Reed. But yeah, Colleen, exactly. Absolutely. They're going to take another look because that's what, 2 years now, 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to be doing a show on Sunday about Sandra Birchmore and talking about the reopening of the DA. So
that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I'm going to start getting into that. And believe, I just want to make sure, and I'm very transparent with everybody. I know about her case. It's new to me. I'm going to do my best to transcribe it. I have a show lined up, and we'll keep following that because I'm going to be very curious to see what the DA does with this case.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic, Sean. And that's another case, it's another case that I look at and just say the obvious is there. I was even explaining it I would stop by my mother's house earlier today to check in on her. And we were talking about it. And she said, "Oh, what cases you follow?" She goes, "You still doing the Karen case?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, I started talking about Sandra's case. And I said, and I've been telling my dad about this too. And I told her, just the last couple of days there, I said, they say they find this ligature around her neck, and the last person to go in there is the cop that she's impregnated by. I said, come on. I mean, it's pretty obvious, in my opinion, what happened there,
Right.
So we would,
if you look at traditional suicides by females, hanging's not one of them.
Yeah.
Women, let's face it, they're vain. And if they kill themselves, they want to be, when they're found, they want to be presentable. They want to look pretty, all that other stuff. And she was pregnant. That woman would never kill her baby. And she would never death by hanging is an excruciating way to go. I'm telling you, like drowning. I mean, when you can't do anything, hanging's worse. Because I just listen. I don't. It is what it is.
So I got a question. I'm actually going to read this question, a point that my dad brought up, and I forgot to make this point to you. And he just actually texted me about it. He goes, he said, warm breath, thawing blood. This makes a lot of sense too. So he said to me, he said, blood on O'Keefe was decrystallized by Karen's warm breath when she was giving him mouth to mouth. That might be how his blood got all over him, because you got to think, if he was outside,
that's good. A good possibility. That could happen. Absolutely. Yeah. But I don't really know how much blood she had on her, but that's a good possibility. It is, right? I mean, was Karen trained in CPR? I don't know. Was Carrie? I don't know. Listen, you can go through the motions, but if you haven't been trained and certified, it's a whole different thing. But yeah, at least you're doing something. Why didn't Jen get the blankets in the house?
Yeah.
Right? Come on.
Yeah. Paula says, do you think the feds have ring footage? I'd love to see what cars were coming and going at 12:30 a.m.
As I said the other night, when you taint the investigation, right, you're going to hide the evidence, right? You're going to hide the evidence. They weren't looking for real evidence. If they found the cars were going by, Let's say they found cars going down around 2:30, right? They don't want that out there because that's going to give up the what you call. That's going to give up Lucky Laughlin. That's going to corroborate Lucky Laughlin, right? They're not going to listen. Like I said, they did as much as they could to not prove that anyone else was involved. They just focused. It was a targeted based case. They found a target and they worked it backwards. It's hard to explain. When I did a case, right, you didn't have a target. You said, okay, let me think about this first. Let me think about it. We got this, we got this, we got this. You want to then go through the process of elimination. Right. First and foremost, the spouse, the person closest to the person that's dead, always, that's the first person you go to. Then you go to the person that last saw John, right? Well, according to Karen, she was not the last person to see John because John went in the house. Her statement should have been at least validated, right? Mm-hmm. Her statement was, hey, I dropped him off there, right? Instead of talking about the kisses, drinks and kisses, or kisses and drinks up at the waterfall, right? They should have been, tell me what was going on in the house. I can't even, no one can tell me, but they should have been talking about who was doing what, but that's how you do it. And then all they did was, we got Karen, because whatever was said at Jen McCabe's house changed the whole course, the direction in this investigation. I hate to say it, but that's how it goes.
Audrey with the 10.
This is my boss right here, Brian. Audrey Presley. She's amazing.
So she
my
says,
boss lady.
She says, thank you for not bringing up Palvin tonight. Remember to all, we have 2 business days for the most epic hearing ever. Let's focus on that, not Palvin. He's toast, so let's go. So let me just address this really quick before, look at LTL, those types of streams is, and listen, I don't want to get down on any other creators that talk about dueling streams and stuff like that. I don't get into that stuff here. I find conversations like the ones we're having with Sean tonight, the ones we've had with Melanie Little, going over case details, getting the correct information out there, fighting against corruption, fighting against, things that are going on in Brockton High. That's the type of stuff that I want to do here on LTL. I want to elevate my platform and have more guests like this here. Again, if another creator or another platform, whatever, if that's their forte and the stuff that they want to get into, great. If that works for your channel and your audience, absolutely go for it. But you got balloons floating. That was an epic moment. You couldn't have planned that out.
It was an epic moment. I'm like a kid on Christmas time here.
I tend to just try to stick to the cases and the facts, and I don't let all the other stuff get in between. But great conversation so far tonight with Sean. Very informative.
Like I said, I have no notes. I don't have it. I have no
I have the notes.
I don't have any notes. I can tell you right now, I live, breathe, eat, sleep. The dogs, I'm talking to the dogs. Come on, we have to go get this. Where's this? Listen, I don't need it. I live it. And I live it for a cause. I live it for John O'Keefe and Karen Reed. That's all I'm doing it for. That's it. That's it.
We'll go back to user 617.
Yeah.
Says, things seem dangerous now. Do you think the feds are keeping an eye on those that have a lot to lose? Tully and Yuri are still out there looking for more charges.
Yeah, so the things seem dangerous now for the other side. All right, we're always seeing they're in panic mode. They're in desperation mode. They know the day of reckoning is coming. All right, they know it. All right, if you look at it long enough, it's going to start. It's like an impressionist painting, right? The closer you are to it, you can't see nothing. But the slower you get back, you keep going back. All of a sudden, you get to the point where, holy shit, wow, a beautiful picture. That's how this case is going, right? The other side is starting to say, holy shit, maybe this McDonough, he's onto something. Because at some point, you cannot look at that circle I put on that taillight. You can't look at that circle and say, well, Jesus, if it shows up in evidence, and it will, I'm telling you, this 37 to 40 pieces missing. It's in evidence. If it's in evidence, someone's going to jail. I said that the other day. Someone's going to jail. At least,
Yeah, thank you so much, Elise. And here's the thing: I want to make sure that everybody understands. If we got about 500 people watching us on Twitter, we got about 16 people on Facebook.
Holy.
If you're not subscribed to the channel here on LTL, just find me, LTL True Crime. Come over here, join the live chat. We have a huge live chat right now, and join the conversation over here if you want to do that. We'll take a few more questions here from Sean, and then if Sean has any, final thoughts, I'd love to hear that from him. So let's see here. Let's see if we have any more questions. So Seabreeze says, well said, Brian. You do an excellent job explaining the details and facts to your guests. Great show tonight. Love listening to you guys. Well, thank you so much, Seabreeze. We love having you here.
Betty's Ready has one. What are the chances next week court we learn nothing? The chances are high. The chances are very high. I mean, no one more than me wants to see March 12th happen. I'm going to be with Dylan Davis over there in Wales, right? He's a great guy. I'll be doing the play-by-play from Wales, right? This is crazy. This whole stuff.
It's a worldwide case.
It blows me away. But no one more than me wants to hear the dirty secrets, the dirty secrets that they did to Karen. But I also believe too that if you're Lally, I mean, why would they go into a buzzsaw like that?
Right.
Anyways.
I still haven't made my decision if I'm going to go to the court or I'm going to stream it. I haven't made my mind up yet. Right. So I know a lot of people are going to be streaming it from home and going through
if you can get there, Brian, if you got there early, you get a seat. It would be, if that thing goes off as planned, it's going to be epic. It will be incredible.
It's been tough the last time I've gone, Sean. The last 2 times I've gone, I've dressed up, suit, all that.
I bought a brand new
suit to go into court. I can't get into court. They block me. They block us off, so I can never get in.
You need to get there early.
What happens is, and what has been happening is that people have been going in and sitting at like 9 in the morning and waiting all day. They won't leave the courtroom, so the courtroom's been full.
So they actually allow them in the courtroom.
Yeah, they're just letting people wait. It's just been a big pain in the ass. Wow. So, real quick question, I guess, J1C. I have no problem with the glare. Absolutely no problem at all. I think I've made it pretty evident that my shows, and I'm trying to get on a set schedule, is going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday, and maybe an occasional Friday or Saturday night, 8 p.m. I've said this all along. When I get to my set schedule, when it's my time to go, I'm just going to go, and then the audience will choose who they want to watch. I just want to let everybody know, I don't only do the Karen Reed case. There are many, many other cases on this channel that I follow, and many other cases that I will use to get out and do more of because I take interest in it. And I let the audience guide me. So if I do a specific case and there's no interest in it, then I will move on. Or if there is interest in it, like I've been very knee deep in Brockton High right now because I'm pissed off at that situation over there, I will continue to do it. But, creators are creators. Creators will go at set times. I try to be as sensitive as I can if a creator has but I got to do my show too. So it's, of course, it's just the way it goes. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's probably other creators going right now and they don't give a shit. They're just streaming and doing their show.
Right. So, I mean, and then the greatest thing about this, you could always come back and be in the replay gang, right?
Sure. Absolutely. Right?
I mean, come on. That's I haven't watched regular TV in ages. It's amazing.
Robin says she loves us two together. Well, Sean is always welcome on my channel. Sean will always be
so I'd like to have you come on my channel.
Of course.
We'd love to, listen, spread the love here. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because Sean, I got to tell you, I can tell you right now, doing a solo, the other night I did a solo. That's hot. You're trying to do the clicks and trying to chase down the questions. It's crazy.
So Michelle's asking, did I get my press pass? No. And I'm going to tell you this. I've sent the email 3 times now, twice to the regular office that I'm supposed to send it to, and then once to the director. I think her name is Jen, to get the press. I have got no answer on that. No answer. So let's see. I got a couple of super chats here that I want to recognize. I see one of my good friends in here. Attorney Melanie Little, thank you so much for popping in. I love it. Love her content. If you haven't gone over and subscribed, you're missing amazing content there. Please go over and see Attorney Melanie Little.
Melanie's an assassin also. She is, wow.
I'd like to get the 3 of us back on a panel again sometime.
Come on my show.
Yeah.
I think Melanie said That would be beautiful.
Yeah,
You kidding
I'll
me?
go over.
Maybe, yeah.
And Melanie says, love you guys. Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate it. I got some other super chats I need to get in. Susan says, they cleared the courtroom after the morning session. It's empty at the afternoon. I go right up and sit on the bench. I have had bad luck getting there. I haven't been able to get in there.
Yeah.
Renee says, I got in every time. Everybody else apparently gets in, but I can't get in. And then, good question here. Pierce is asking, would this be a bench or a jury trial? It's going to be jury.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, jury trial.
You don't want that.
You don't want
that
judge. Because I'm going to fucking tell you right now.
Your fate in her hands. No way.
If you have watched any of the hearings, just look how Auntie Bev acts towards the defense. So
we stand here in Massachusetts, young lady.
Yes.
Jesus.
But it's just go back and watch some of the hearings, how Judge Bev acts towards the defense. So, Sean, anything you want to say to wrap up, or any parting words here?
Well, first and foremost, I think all the content creators out there, yourself, Aiden,
let's not forget
Mike,
Aiden. Aiden is the one that started this. He is
Tom CPU,
Yep.
the Glera, Mike the Jerks, Young Jerks.
Yep.
I mean, listen, boy, he let me in. I'm so happy he did, because I got in. I don't know if I see some of those people were in with Michael.
Mm-hmm.
I let some steam off, and I was so grateful, because when I came to your show, I was so relaxed. I really was. This was beautiful. No, to all the content creators, to everyone who's keeping the torch alive, keeping the flame alive, to all the people right out there that keep coming. For instance, I see Scott McGinnis and Heidi Costa. I see all these people. Sometimes they get confused. I'm saying,
Dana Paul, Tracy. Yep.
Right. I see everyone, and they're going from here to Mike, to Aiden, to Glera, to Dylan. Right. Everyone's getting, and that's a tribute. That's a tribute to Karen and to John O'Keefe and my participation. I can't do what I'm doing right now without having people. If I had to talk to this green light and no one's out there, what good am I? And if I can impart anything from my 35 years of experience, let me tell you something like this. This case was easy to figure out, right? And okay, here we go. There's a question.
We have a couple more questions coming in. Sure. I'm sure Sean doesn't mind. Sean says, do you think John O'Keefe's clothes were washed before being left outside to die?
What's it? Betty is ready. I like that. Betty is ready. Okay, so listen. I would give some credence to that, because what I don't get, how the hell does he have vomit in his underwear but not on his outside jeans? How does that happen, right? Could they have done something with the clothes? Could it have been washed before? They had the time. You throw it in for the quick cycle, you get it dry, you put it back on. They could have changed this. Where's the belt?
Right.
The belt, listen, these guys are military guys. You use the belt to drag, to lift them up through the belt. Maybe the belt broke. Who knows? Listen, these guys weren't the smartest. They're smart. They're corrupt, but they weren't the smartest, because you can't mess up the cover up. Mess up the event, but don't mess up the cover up, because then you're done. Now you're really done.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody has any more questions for Sean, drop them in there. We got
sure.
We got.
No, but I want to get back.
Yeah.
The people, and I'll tell you, I can't do what I'm doing. I can't if my voice wasn't reaching out to people, and if I couldn't be, if I impart anything to you people, and you it makes sense to you, then my job is done. But I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to run out of content. I will find the content. I will find the content, because there's a lot to go over. And we don't know what's going to happen. I can tell you right now, if the Commonwealth on their own does not dismiss this case, the judge will never dismiss it. She doesn't. I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
If Jackson and Eddie come in with machine guns and blow up the
Yeah.
place, she's still going to put that
You're gonna
case
still go.
to trial.
Right.
She wants to hear
She
this case.
wants it to go to trial. You can
So-
just tell in her
No, there's no
body
doubt about
language, her demeanor. She wants to
She
go.
wants to be Judge Alito she wants
Right.
somehow her notoriety for whatever reason. But that card is in Morrissey's hand. He gives the order to Lally. So, okay, it won't be her. I can guarantee
Right.
that. I can guarantee you that.
And I'm going to piggyback off Sean as well too. You know, I love how all the creators have different angles and different things that they bring
Sure.
up on their shows and different ways that they report this case and the different things they bring into it. I think it's fantastic. Look, a lot of people don't like me. That's fine. You know,
Why,
I do my
what
thing.
do you
My,
mean? I don't understand that. I
I
love
do
you,
my
man.
thing
I
my
think you're
way.
great, man.
No, I think I do my thing my way. You know, another set of creators do their thing their own way. It's perfectly fine. You know, it's perfectly fine. But the bottom line is this, and I go back to what Sean said: carrying the torch, keeping the torch going. You know, keeping this case out there, getting it out into the algorithm, making sure that we continue to get the truth out there, because we know that we're always counteracted. We know the little trolls out there that have their Twitter accounts and only have 10 people that actually follow them, and they're the only ones that tweet negative bullshit at us. But it's crazy. I want to get to this really quick. KCO5, Sean, what was the dead giveaway that screams cover up to you? That's a great question.
For me personally,
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, right, when I saw the arm, John's arm, that was the initial thing. I was like, wow,
Yeah, that's what
this
got
is
me right
crazy.
away.
When they brought out those charts, right, I said, oh my God, are you kidding me? For me personally, then you add, okay, so maybe you give it a jump ball, maybe, who knows, you know, in a jury. But I'll tell you right now, you can't read. I know this. KCO5, it's the tail light. It's without any the super secret shit that the FBI did, right? Where they had wiretaps, where they had informants using professional informants to get into Brian, to get into the other Brian. Who knows, right? But the bottom line is this: you cannot negate that video at 508. You can't. I'll put it up again. That circle where it shows that side of the taillight intact, right? If any part of that taillight is in evidence, it's over. That means they did. That's the face of corruption right there. They smashed it and they planted it. And I'll die on that hill because that's my hill to die on.
I'm gonna pull it up again. Hang on, just so everybody knows.
I do. Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson worked. Can I get this question out?
Yeah, of course.
Brian Johnson. I just saw Brian. I remember that, but I'll tell you, my mind's going crazy with
It's
all
all
this
right.
stuff. Brian Johnson worked originally with. There you go. Worked. Well, that's not the picture. I got a picture of the down here, this side. All right, hold on. Get back a little bit. The other, no. Yeah, right there. Stay right there. All right. All right. See those, the two things right there, right? That's the side I'm talking about. That's the side Proctor talked about. That picture right there, right? In that whole red right there on the far right, towards the white, where those little white things are, right? Those are the LED strips, right? That illuminate to bring that light up, right? Go back to the paint by the car. Go back, right? No, up here. Brian, underneath the arrow, right there. All right. See how that red goes to touches the right there.
Yep.
At 508, you can see that light perfectly. I have a circle around that light. We now have the picture that shows there is nothing there. Now bring it over here to down by the white glass. Right there. Come down. All right, come down. All that right there from left to right is gone, right? We know it's intact because as
we saw it.
leaves,
Right.
It's there.
Right.
That to me screams corruption and cover up. That's how they had to get evidence at the scene. They only wanted the white backup light, the little pieces. And it went too far. And they said, "Fuck it, we're gonna go the whole gamut. We're gonna make sure we do the whole thing." So
Scotland
Brian Johnson used to work with John O'Keefe when he was a rookie over there in Duxbury, right down in Duxbury there by the beach by Marsh Vegas. And Brian asked a question: what is my opinion on the fact that no Boston police cops are coming to Karen's hearings? You know why? because they know it's a fugazi. They know that she's innocent. That's the only conclusion you can come up. You know, if this was another guy, another cop that was so blatant, they'd all be there and show support. I guarantee they'd have paid details to go there and show us support. They know it.
I love this. Let me just get to these super chats real quick. So Paul, thank you so much. Paul's a great guy. I get to spend time with him.
He's coming on my show Monday night.
I love Paul.
Monday night.
Awesome. So Paul says, we are all here for three things: justice for John, justice for Karen, and justice for Aiden. Everyone has a role. I want to make sure that everybody understands this. As far as the depth that I've got into this case, I would not be here at this level if it wasn't for the reporting of Turtle Boy. He's done excellent reporting on this and done, I think, over 300 blogs on his website about this case, and hours in numerous hours of footage and video that he's put together. For crow's sake, he just got out of 60 days in jail for speaking up about this and having to do that, you know, for First Amendment. And, you know, I would not be here. And like I said, it was a damn honor to be on his channel and do some interim hosting for him to keep that channel going. So,
and the fact is, they're still hunting him. Linda Pepe, that's in this chat, they went to her house. They went to Katie Smith's house. They're driving from Boston up to Gloucester. Come on. They're going all over the place, but they can't find the, look at the thing. It comes up again. I didn't do it. I put my thumb up. They I don't know what the hell's going on. They're going all over the place, but they can't find the Ford Edge. This is the face of corruption, people. This is why I have my platform, right? Mass corruption. Law and Order Mass Corruption Unit. You know, Special Victims Unit. Well, this is mass corruption. Not Massachusetts. Mass, like a massive. Okay, Brian, Nay. Look at Nay here.
So Nay's asking, Sean, is there a way to get a dog bite expert in court? Would it be a trainer like the guy Melanie had on, or a medical professional? That's a great question.
Well, personally, I'd like to see the guy that was on Melanie's show. Let me tell you right now. Medical guys, okay. I hate to say this because my son's a doctor, right? But that guy that Melanie had on, right? Now that's the guy I want. If I'm in the jury box, right, and I got someone like Melanie leading him in his testimony, I would say, wow, that, because he knows his business, right? All right. Now a medical doctor, as a juror, right, it gets a little dry. But I want to see the guy that brings the meat. He brings the meat. He brings the fire. But if I had to choose, I'd choose the dog trainer. I would choose Melanie's guy 1,000 times over everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Freeloader says dog handle is better. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is boots on the ground, someone that works constantly in that field, that is going to know, you know, constantly know what that what's going to entail in that, you know. And I think he did a great breakdown and actually showed that dummy arm that he had and the serrations that those teeth make when they.
It was almost exactly like how John's arm looked. Yeah,
it lines right up. It's unbelievable. Let's see if I have any question. Here we go. Rachel K says, anyone know why John's family thinks Karen did it? Have they been influenced by a cover up peeps, or they just weren't happy John was dating her?
You know, listen, I'm taking a bunch of shit for this. All right. I'm sorry. I mean, I personally think they were their grief was taken advantage of. Right. Listen, they got to be smart. They got to be seeing what's going on. Right. My problem is not so much the poor mother and father and Paul. Listen, it's a tragedy. Those poor kids, they lose their mother. They lose their father. John comes in, right? They lose John. I don't know, in the relationship with Karen, either way, she set up a fund for these kids long before any of this crap happened, right? Karen's a smart woman. But now these kids are old enough. They got the phones. They got the devices. They're reading this stuff. They're probably looking at us right now. You don't know. Kids are very savvy. They're very in tune. This turns out bad for them. They're going to say, who the Christ can we trust in life? who can we trust? That this is going to be bad. I hate to say that. So,
let's see. Rachel's asked, did anyone get the car data to see if the camera beeped when she quote hit John O'Keefe? So,
well, I mean,
it would be the car black box.
They're saying they put out for months. Oh, she went back, 61 feet at 24.3 miles an hour. I mean, and now they backed off of it, right? If my understanding, according to Plevin, they backed off of it. That is not in game. That's not in play anymore. I mean, I don't know. Well, according to the unit that went to the Canton PD, they put the dummies up, backed up, and those little bells and whistles were going off. Yeah, so they determined that it was functional. They did. I listen. This had to be the smartest. This God, he's everywhere. This had to be the smartest dog. Had to be the smartest car in the world.
Yeah.
To strategically hit John in different places, keeping all the wounds above the neck, but get the back of his hands and do something to his arm.
Head. Yeah, his head.
Let's come on. I mean, seriously. I could be persuaded a little bit if the pelvic area was cracked or the thighs. I mean, so you tell me, Brian, I've done this down here.
Mm-hmm.
If that car hit you, where do you think it would hit you on your body?
I'll show you right now. I'll just show you right now. Hang on. I will show you right now, sir.
Yeah.
Let's not mess around. We'll just pull the picture back up. Because I was standing next to one the other day. The same thing here. Where would it hit me? Well, Sean, it would hit me. It would be a soft body up in the upper body here. It wouldn't be in my head.
No.
It wouldn't be on my hand.
No.
Because if we're using the taillight as the murder weapon, the taillight's the murder weapon.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I would have a chest injury, because you got to think, or something on my back. Wouldn't I have a back injury if I get hit from the back?
Sure.
Maybe my leg would have got broken, or my knee would have got broken, because if I was pushed over.
I knew this question was coming, but anyways, maybe
you go right there. The yellow lines would sit in the game.
Right. I was going to say something.
Sure.
I was going to say something about the hitting of the car. It doesn't smash pass the smell test. It really doesn't. It doesn't. No. And here's the other thing. They also. Yeah, I see. I knew that was coming. I thought you were going to escape. Hold on. Let me get back to the car real quick. It was freezing out. I don't care. John wasn't going to wait around and say, hey, come hit me. We got Karen saying, I saw him approach the door and put his head in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So prove her wrong. Prove her wrong.
And then Nago, when he drove by, I drove by. It was Karen in the car, 10 and 2, interior light on.
By herself. Right. Oh,
so.
God. Okay.
John,
I said that, huh? Did I say that? User 617.
What happened to Jen McCabe's house at the reference that you referenced last week? Mr. O'Keefe got mad.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I will tell that story, right? After March 12th. All right.
Yeah.
It's a little personal. I don't want to get involved in it, but I'll tell you right now, it's on the money. It's been validated. I can tell you that, but use it 617 and I saw it. Someone else had it.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell that story after March 12th. I will.
Renee says, Brian, you can come to our Plymouth standouts. I wish I could, but unfortunately, I have to work on Saturday. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to make some standouts, and I want to get one here in my city as well too. So I just got to line up with Paul, and maybe we can have a standout here.
I see user 617. She's not gonna he or she. It's got to be a she. I know that. That she's not gonna let me forget it. I know it. I
definitely bring it up again.
So
Betty,
I don't know. Maybe it's a guy. I don't know.
it's funny too, going back to the car, you know, like when I started talking to my dad about this the other day, he's been following it for quite a while now. He said, you know, he kept saying, like, wasn't there snow and isn't there a turn and how fast was she going? And he said she must have been one hell of a fucking NASCAR driver to line all this up and get there. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Betty says, how does the CW explain John O'Keefe being found in the yard over 12 feet past the street?
Yeah. So, you know, I had talked about that to an active police officer who was not one of my sources. Okay. But he's not a bad guy. All right. He was just didn't want to be that guy. And his thing was, well, he crawled. He crawled. Okay. Well, the crawling is up. Okay. We take his word, right? Well, that's pretty bizarre because the phone didn't move, right? If John was crawling, the phone would have gone with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things people. I mean, it's easy now because we have we have 2 years of information now. We can, but he's saying, well, that he crawled, and he's the one that said had to be feral, you know, whatever, and coyotes and all that crap. Bear, he said a bear, maybe a bear did it. Big paw. Right. I didn't know they had bears in Canton.
No.
You know?
This is great, and I forgot to ask you about this. This is something I actually had queued up on my notes. But if Karen hit John that hard and fast, she would have injuries such as whiplash or something. No.
Yeah. If Karen hit John that hard and fast, John would have severe injuries. I'm talking severe. Mm-hmm. And yeah, but they're saying that the car. That's what I'm saying. An object that's a 6,500 pound car. Add her 90 pounds. Now you're talking over 7,000 pounds, right? Going into a guy 218 pounds. She would have flattened him like a pancake.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, and maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. But yeah. But I don't think John's 218 pound body would stop that car. It just listen. It's all about physics. I wasn't that guy, but I know I applied it to this case.
So Shannon asks, I think the whole entire investigation is a joke, but I don't want to confuse any outside of the issues of in Karen's favor, but couldn't have my MVV pedestrian case been called in as a domestic.
Okay. Let me read that again.
Yeah, I'm a little confused here.
That's true. I understand that. Yes, it could be, but remember, yeah, you're right. It could have been called in as a motor vehicle versus pedestrian and called it as a domestic, but that's not the understanding. That female EMS person was thinking. The female EMS person was thinking that she hit him. Like slapped him.
Right.
They weren't thinking, listen, the cops knew that he wasn't hit by a car because if he was hit by a car, they wouldn't collect blood, right? They thought he was in a fight, right? It's just that they didn't go the extra mile for a cop that was beaten to death in front of their own eyes, okay? The fix was in very early, but they knew that kid got beaten because they collected blood. And like we said, I said this from day one on Aiden's show. Cars don't bleed. You have a victim, you have the car. That's it. So they weren't working it as a motor vehicle into a pedestrian domestic violence. It was a domestic violence from get-go. And then Brian Albert says, that doesn't make any sense at all. He's smart. Listen, the kid's smart. Can't take, come on. I mean, that's it. Airbags.
Here's a good point, and one that I've never heard. Wouldn't the airbags have gone off?
No, I understand when you go in reverse, they don't go off. That's what maybe the newer cars,
right?
But I understand that they don't go off. I don't think when they're in reverse.
I'd love to see someone test that theory because that would help Karen in the sense. I mean, if she whacked him that hard or whatever.
Right.
So Carrie Ann says, what happens to Dalali for lying in court? Would they face the same punishment as the Mass State Police if it came to that?
That's a great question. So Brian, you and I are cops, right? We're going to frame the guy at the corner store. He's got a bunch of heroin on him, right? All right. We're going to frame him and say he's good for a murder down in Providence, right? We set the guy up. We put a gun on him, right? And we keep it, you and I keep it a secret, right? So the DA comes and says, we write our reports. It's a secret between you and I. The guy going, I don't know where this gun came from. It's not my gun, right? It's kind of like the Sean Ellis case, right? What they did in trial 4, right? The setup, right? These two wacko Boston detectives, right? So anyways, if you and I present a case to the DA has like this qualified immunity, right? He believes what the honest cops tell him. And if it makes sense, look, at every defendant says, that ain't mine. That ain't my dope. Well, guess what? They all say it. But in this case, it's different. It's completely different because listen, if the warriors for Karen, like Darcy and Eliza Krogan and Suzanne and Angela Brown, they're all figuring this out. These are the warriors for Karen. You tell me Lally couldn't figure it out? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Right. So and then the other thing is, I believe there's going to be evidence that, well, I'm going to tell you right now, there was word that Karen knew exactly how they kept and set they kept stuff from her and framed her. If those wiretaps were up on Morrissey's cell phone and office phone, it's over. Because I'll tell you, that cell phone, people talk freely on that thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Bottom line is, I mean, and I mean, listen, I might get a little shit for this, but I think, it's in a weird kind of twisted, demented way. I think I feel a little bit bad for Lally because I think he's going to be the guy that takes all the shit on the end here when this all goes south. I mean, that poor bastard's going to be thrown out, fired, and never wanted in a courtroom ever again. It's funny because at the last hearing, Sean, did you notice he didn't say a word? He didn't get up and say nothing.
He looked like he lost his best friend. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't looked good all the way through this.
Yeah, but the last couple of hearings, he's looked pretty bad.
He looked like he got the wrath of God. I mean, he found something out that day. Listen, he was late for the hearing.
Yeah. Well, he's ripping butts in the parking lot. Turtle Boy saw ripping butts in the parking lot.
That was at 7:30 in the morning. For Christ's sake, Listen,
I don't know, Sean. What do you think? You have any? I guess we'll wrap this.
Final thoughts.
TV's going at 9:30. I want to be sensitive to him. So
yeah, absolutely, no problem. Final thoughts. I just think that I'll put it out there right now. No trial. Karen gets completely exonerated with prejudice. The feds come in and a massive roundup. They show the corruption, and they arrest the people who did kill John O'Keefe. 5 things. I made it. I told Kevin back in August, my friend Kevin Lenihan, I told him, I said, here's my prediction. It's never changed. I put it out. Alex Arias or Billy McIntyre, whoever he is, he said, get on the record. I put her on the record. I'm out there. No trial. She's completely exonerated with prejudice. Massive sweep. Get the guys, and corruption's exposed at the highest level. Excuse me. That's exactly what I believe.
All right, you've heard it from the man, Sean on the Golf. Listen, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I know we've been trying to collide for a little while here, and this has been
collide. Share the love.
Share the love, right? But you know what I mean. Come together and do a show.
I said this the other day. If you told me back in April. Well, if you told me back in April, I'd be this involved, it'd be great. But if you told me back in April that one day I'd be sitting behind a microphone and a thing, talking to 800, 900 people and yourself, I would have said, take me away now, lock me up, put me in a mental institute, because I would never. But here's the thing, whatever it takes, that's my motto. Whatever it takes, we're going to do it. That's whatever it takes.
Yeah, I dropped the link to Sean's channel if you want to go over and subscribe.
beautiful,
Please do.
beautiful.
All right, so we'll give Sean some likes and some love over there. I'd love to have you back after the hearing.
I'm going nowhere.
And if you want me over on your channel, let me know. We'll work something out and we'll do it.
Maybe yourself and Melanie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. That's Sean on the golf. We're going to be sensitive. I know TB is going at 9:30. I don't know if he's on YouTube tonight, but it might be his Turtle Club. And I'm probably pretty sure most of the people in here are on his Turtle Club. So
I know Dave McGrath is doing the Joe Biden's statement. If he made it
the inaugural address there. Yeah. Yeah.
The State of the Union. Yeah. So,
if you want, go check him out. I know TB's at 9:30.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here tonight. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. I will keep you updated. I'm going to be signing a lease on my new studio and hopefully be moving in on April 1st and get that up and running. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not rushing going into it. I want to make sure we go through it once and make sure it's perfect. And then when you got a rainstorm coming in,
It's raining right now here in Nashville, so I had to do that one, buddy. I'm
this
sorry.
way we can start having a module studio where I can have live guests come in. And Sean, once the studio is up and running, if you're ever in Massachusetts, you're welcome to come in.
Oh,
I'd
buddy,
love to have you sit down face to face and have a conversation.
That'd be awesome, like Joe Rogan style.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to achieve.
Joe Rogan style. That'd be awesome.
Pick it up. Can you hang out a little bit after we get off air a little?
Absolutely.
Okay, I got some things I want to talk to you about really quick before we go.
You got
All
it.
right, my friends, make sure you smash the like button. Please smash the like button on the way out. Thank you all for all the support, the super chats, the new members that came in, all the things that came through Cash App and Buy Me a Coffee. It helps this channel go. And I'm really going to have to stop putting the work in because I'm going to have a working studio where I got to pay rent here.
You got to pay that nut, buddy. You got to pay that
nut now. But I'm going to hit the outro. Thank you. That's Sean on the golf, Sean McDonough, retired federal DEA agent, retired cop, has served our community well. He's one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys in this and is very passionate about the Karen Reed case. Thank you, Sean. And we'll see you guys soon. Everybody have a great night.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
You got it.
See a true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden them up. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Jetting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. It's true crime. Unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities of the crime. Unraveling the web of evil, no stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities.